Hey, folks, welcome to It's Rare Live. We are going to be bringing you the vice presidential debate tonight. I'm here with Jesse,
Hello.
and we're going to see what happens. Hopefully, we'll get maybe a little bit more out of this than the last event that we had with the other mucklucks.
Mucklucks?
Yeah.
Is that what you're calling it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to call it, but thanks for joining us and watching the vice presidential debate with us, and we'll see where we go. Cool. So I'm gonna work on. What do you think? What do you think, Jesse? Is there anything special we're looking for tonight with this debate?
I mean, that it's going to be a lot of Kamala Harris talking about how good her conviction rate was in California for
Jesus,
for petty crimes, and then it's going to be a lot of Mike Pence pushing his religion on everybody. So it's going to be interesting.
If every time that Mike Pence mentions his faith,
take a drink. Every time Kamala talks about how good her freaking prosecution rate was in California, take a drink.
During my time as a prosecutor,
I prosecuted more men for petty crimes than any prosecutor in the world.
Did I remember? Did I share the audio on that? I'd do it again. So we're just getting things set up, folks, and I do need to make sure I share the audio on that. Let me know if there's an echo, because we'll adjust. We'll make adjustments. This is coming live from C-SPAN.
Oh wow, they're gonna start late,
and
the debate doesn't start for 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Yeah. So
where does it say that?
Right there. Vice presidential debate starts in 14 minutes and 56 seconds.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I guess we can bullshit for 15 minutes, just like any other time.
Yeah.
Who are these people?
Can you turn up the volume of my headphones and when you get a chance?
Yeah, you can't. Can you hear me?
Little. Everything's so low. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Okay. So much better. You can turn it down a little bit. Yeah. Cool. Perfect. Thanks, man. Yeah, I couldn't hear anything. It was so bad.
I can't hear myself. Isn't that like the beginning of
I can hear you.
Eminem song?
Yeah, probably.
He's like,
he's got some weird beginnings.
He's like, yeah, I can't hear. Turn up my.
Yeah. What does he say? Oh, I forget what it is.
I don't know, but that's a whole like.
All right, Phil. You're gonna drink Schulhaus Red. That's 4 days old.
Schulhaus. That's a very German way to say schoolhouse, and it comes from Vice, which is actually kind of a fun little spot.
And good friends of ours.
Cuca Lake.
They do a lot for us. So
really,
yeah,
that's good. I like them. Only had good experiences there.
Is it Weiss or Vice?
I'm gonna.
How would you say it?
I'm gonna minimize that till they get going. I don't want to have to look at them.
I would say it's Vice.
Yeah, it's Weiss. It's the German pronunciation.
Weiss.
I hear a lot of people calling them Weiss, but it's definitely Weiss. And you can't pronounce it Schulhaus if you're going to pronounce it Weiss.
So, are all W's in the German language V?
Typically, yeah.
Or just the ones that start a word?
I think all the W's are pronounced like a V. Yeah.
Huh. Cool. So, could you make, if your name's Wayne, it's Vane.
Vane. Wer is Vane? Well, yeah. Have you ever watched any like James Bond movies?
Not really, no.
Or Indiana Jones?
No.
Have you ever watched any movies?
No, I don't really watch any movies, to be honest. No, I don't. I watch sports.
Well, I guess we're having the wrong kind of conversation then.
Like I've watched all the sports movies. Like I watched Remember the Titans again.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a great movie.
That's one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. Kyle, thanks for watching. We're just getting warmed up. I guess we got another 10 minutes or so before they're going to go live with the debates. But
did you tell someone thanks for watching?
Yeah.
You know who's watching?
Well, I just saw because he gave us a like.
Oh.
Thanks for liking. If you want to share it, it's be a good time to share it too. I'm actually going to give it a share on my personal page.
I don't know if I've ever got a chance to say great job on the song, Kyle. That's freaking cool as hell. I can't wait for you to come in and try to re-record it on our mics because it'll be awesome.
I get a lot of compliments on our song. So many people that just come in and they say, Phil, I've been listening to the podcast, and I was just like, somebody the other day said, Phil, I was just in the bathroom.
Okay.
And like all of a sudden I was like, who's there? It's Rahr. And I was like, all right, that's TMI, but
Kyle with the
that's a good. We're getting some.
Yeah. How many follows do we have now?
We're up 68% in our post engagements. So
there you go.
So keep engaging
314.
with us. Send us some comments. Let us know what's going on. Let us know what you think's happening in the debate.
Jay's pumped for this.
Jay's fired up.
Yeah, Jay.
I'm glad Jay's gonna be watching with us.
I like Jay. He's a good dude. Yeah. I miss him. I never get a chance to go to the wine bar for the trivia he does.
Right, because you're here.
Yeah, I got there late one day and got to just catch the end. So
I wish we could get Jay to come down and do this with us one time, do one of the debates with us, because he has some really kind of interesting points of view on some of this stuff.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Looks like they're just still working on.
Do they have volume right now?
They have volume. I don't have them turned on because I don't want everybody to be stuck listening to their volume.
Okay.
So they're just hearing us now, but once it gets going, I'll unmute them.
Cool.
And we'll be able to hear the debate. Nobody else can see that right now. So
this 3 or 4 day old Cuca Springs Merlot is tasting pretty good though.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I just finished.
Cuca Spring Merlot.
Yeah. You ever been to Cuca Springs?
Yeah, it's a really nice place.
And they're so cool. It's crazy how cool the small business owners are here. When we get a chance to start going mobile and checking them out, it's going to be fun.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm pretty fired up about that part. I'm glad, I think it's going to be really nice that our equipment will support that.
Yeah. How many of the little microphones do you have?
3.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I have 3. So we'll have to make sure that they can interface with our phones.
Right.
I can actually run all 3 of them into one phone, which is why I bought 3 of them. But the audio is not quite as good as what this is, but it's pretty clean compared to what you get out of a regular microphone.
Yeah.
So actually, I was hoping that I was talking to our athletic communications director or whatever, something like that at the college today about our gear, because they were just working up some new gear at the college and looking for kind of reviews and tips. So I told them about what we had and
athletic communication director.
Yeah, so it's like used to be sports information.
Okay.
But there's a lot more to it than just reporting scores now. So they kind of had to change the title.
Interesting. Boom, boom, boom. But I'm ready for this debate. This should be interesting. So it should be lots of fun.
It's going to be the greatest debate ever.
Honestly, for a vice presidential debate, it's going to be pretty huge.
Just if anybody makes this motion with their hand, if anybody does this shape with their hand and does that, that's probably, you should just finish your drink at that point.
Yeah, you should.
It's just it's a stupid thing.
Would you shut up, man?
I was sitting in the office with my office mate today, and I was just thinking about that, and she said something, and I was like, I can't even remember what I said, but I said, "Come on, man." Yeah, it's a lady, so
yeah,
it's kind of. She was like, "Did you just call me man?"
Yeah, I wouldn't make her mad. I bet she could take you.
Probably.
I bet she'd kick your butt.
She seems like a strong, independent woman.
Yeah, you better watch yourself in there. No one's gonna be there to save you. So.
No, it's like the Thunderdome.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
There's no escape.
Dude.
There's no escape. So I said, I don't know what to tell you, man. That's what it was. I don't know what to tell you, man.
What's up, newbie? How you doing, buddy?
Thanks for coming, newbie.
Newbie. That's what she said.
Man, there's still. I mean, I can tell you,
You're not gonna laugh at that joke.
I'm not gonna go there.
Did you even hear what you said? Yeah, it was perfect. So
What I
whatever.
said?
Yeah, thanks for coming,
I
newbie.
think my computer's frozen.
Oh, that's not good. It was my joke. It was my dirty joke ruined it.
I hope we're still live.
I don't know if we're live. Should I check on my phone?
If we're not live, just send me a text message.
Let me see here.
I don't want to have to. Oh my God. This is a problem.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see here.
Are we still live?
I don't want to have to. Oh, yeah, we're live. We're good.
Okay, well, you can still see us.
Hear us.
And I've got to figure out what we can see.
Yeah. Sean will not be texting you. I just want to let you know.
Okay, thanks, Sean. Sorry that we weren't able to meet up while you're down here. Definitely got to get some of that bourbon for you, though.
What about a Control-Alt-Delete?
I just tried that 4 times.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah. Let's
All right.
see. I might look at folks. If you lose us right now, I gotta do a maneuver. And if you lose us, just either stick with us for a minute or make sure you're on It's Rare Facebook or YouTube, and I'll be back with you in just a minute. Okay. Gotta do something here.
Frozen computer. Not good.
Yeah, I turn it off. Okay, let's see. Okay. Are we back?
We doubled in viewers while we were dead.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, and we're back.
And
I hope. Are we back on there?
We are back.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are.
Problem solved,
Ready to
hopefully.
party.
Okay, now let's see what I can do. I got to get the screen going. Thanks for sticking with us through this little problem.
Oh, you might have to restart C-SPAN. It's stuck.
Oh, maybe it's them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Refresh.
There you go.
Okay, I'm going to keep that muted for now.
How long until it starts?
3
minutes and 40 seconds until the
yep,
debate starts.
So I'm going to just gonna keep it with us for now.
Cool.
Yildiz, thanks for coming.
We are ready.
Let's learn about a lot about.
What do you want to learn about?
I don't know, American bullshit.
So, we're not really having a drinking game this time, but
no drinking game.
Phil is gonna drink every time somebody says something that's against freedom.
Yeah. So, well, I'm not gonna drink every time because I do have to be at work in the morning and functional.
Yeah. Oh, you think there's gonna be a lot of freedom thumping around here?
Yeah. I don't think that. I think there's gonna be a lot of situations where they might say something that's not really pro freedom. So things that they want to ban, things that they want to regulate.
I just think I'm gonna. For me, I'll drink every time Kamala talks about being a prosecutor, and every time Pence brings up his faith.
His faith.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be my my goes. So,
what are we drinking?
You're drinking the Schulhaus from Vice.
We've got the Vice Schulhaus, and you've got the Cuca Spring Merlot.
Yeah.
What else do we have here?
I think this is the Cuca Springs Miller Cove.
Ooh, Miller Cove Red. That's a good.
Yeah.
Good bottle.
So when you own a restaurant and you open red wine for the weekend, you gotta kill it before the next time you open.
Can Sean reserve a bottle of bourbon just just to be safe.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get him.
We need to make sure Sean gets a bottle of bourbon.
We'll get him a bourbon for sure.
He said he couldn't make it down.
Gina, what are you drinking? How about you tell us? You think she's drinking?
Yes.
Yes. What do you think she's drinking? How well do you know her?
You know what? On a list of what she's drinking, I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Really?
Let's bring in some audio for this debate now and see what's going on.
You're off the hook, Gina. Lucky.
Let's see. Can we hear? Are they frozen? Come on, don't be frozen. What's happening? I gotta just.
There you go.
Okay.
Why does C-SPAN keep screwing up?
I don't
on us,
know. Hopefully everyone can hear this.
dude? An 18th old fashioned. That sounds good.
She's a big fan of the 18th Amendment now. She's been in here a couple times.
Nice.
What was the other one? You like the Ernest Hemingway?
The Hemingway daiquiri. There's no sugar in it.
You mean like no added sugar, or no? There isn't any sugar at all.
The only sugar should be grapefruit juice doesn't have much sugar.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty low.
Lime juice doesn't have much sugar, and rum should just have its natural sugar, so it's pretty sugarless. So
Cool.
Hemingway was a diabetic, so you couldn't have sugar.
Ernest, good old Ernie.
Yeah, that guy was the coolest alcoholic ever.
He's a pretty badass.
Yeah. We went down to go see his house in Key West this year.
Really?
Yeah, I got to see the six-toed cats. Mary tried to steal one.
That would be cool.
They frown upon that. Then try to steal a cat.
Folks, are we getting an echo
Good
at all
evening.
from the audio?
From the
Let us
University
know.
of Utah
So
in Salt Lake
I'll
City.
do what I got to do to fix
Welcome
that.
to the first and only vice presidential debate of
I think I
2020,
have to.
sponsored by the Nonpartisan Commission on Presidential Debates.
Can we still hear the
I'm Susan
audio?
Page of USA Today. It is my honor
Shoot me
to
a
moderate
comment.
this debate,
If
an
you don't hear
important
them,
part
let me know.
of our democracy.
Okay, that's good.
In Kingsbury Hall tonight, we have a small and socially distant audience, and we've taken extra precautions during this pandemic.
Is it
Among
still
other
echoing?
things, everyone in the
think I
audience
fixed
is
the echo.
required to wear a face mask, and the candidates will be seated 12 feet
It's all good.
apart.
It's all good.
Thanks, guys.
The audience is enthusiastic about their
Cool.
candidates, but they've agreed to express that enthusiasm only twice, at the end of the debate and now when I introduce the candidates.
Oh yeah.
Please welcome
Everybody gets to clap.
California Senator Kamala Harris.
Make sure
and
to
Vice
go
President
ahead and
Mike
like
Pence.
and share this, by the way. Yay! Or I didn't mean to.
Oh, that's it.
But sorry, the timing was horrible on that.
Sure it was. I'm out of here. Kamala Harris is against meat. Don't forget it. Okay.
Kamala Harris wants to regulate how much meat we can eat. Oh shit!
Senator Harris and Vice President Pence, thank you for being here. We're
sorry.
meeting as President Trump and the First Lady continue to undergo treatment in Washington after testing positive for COVID-19. We send our thoughts and prayers to them for their rapid and complete recovery and for the recovery of
bag of
everyone
meat?
afflicted by the coronavirus.
Oh shit!
It's a bag of.
The two campaigns and the
meat.
Commission on Presidential
Do you have
Debates have
any,
agreed to
like,
the ground
where are
rules
those
tonight.
napkins at?
I'm here to enforce them on behalf of the
Can we
millions
get-
of
can we get those
Americans who are watching.
napkins?
One note, no one in either campaign or at the commission or anywhere else has been told in advance what
That
topics
is
I'll raise
moist.
or what questions I'll ask. This 90-minute debate will be divided into 9 segments of about 10 minutes each. I'll begin a segment by posing a question
9 segments.
to each of you.
Jesus.
Sometimes the same question, sometimes a
Gina.
different question on the same topic. You will then have 2 minutes to answer without interruption by me or the other candidate. Then we'll take 6 minutes or so to discuss the issue.
When it's
At that
love,
point,
you bring a
although
bouquet
there
of
will
meat.
always be more to say, we'll
That's
move
true love.
on to the next topic. We want a debate that is lively, but Americans
like, take my
also
picture with
deserve a discussion that is civil.
Sure.
These are tumultuous times, but we can and will have a respectful exchange about the big issues facing our nation. Let's begin with the ongoing pandemic that has cost our country so
Nice.
much.
I don't know
Senator
how to make
Harris,
this not
the
nice.
coronavirus
There's
is
no
not
way,
under
dude.
control. Over
no
the
way.
past
Just gotta let it
week,
go.
Johns Hopkins reports that 39 states have had
Just
more
one
COVID cases over the past 7 days than in the week before. 9 states have set new
Oh,
records.
there you go.
Even if a vaccine is released soon, the next administration will face hard choices. What would a Biden administration do in January and February that a Trump administration wouldn't do? Would you impose new lockdowns for businesses and schools and hotspots? A federal mandate to wear masks? You have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Thank you, Susan.
Without interruption.
Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country.
Greatest.
And here are the facts. 210,000 dead people in our country in just the last several months. Over 7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated like sacrificial workers. We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment. And here's the thing. On January 28th, the vice president and the president were informed about the nature of this pandemic. They were informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne, that it will affect young people,
Sounds amazing.
and that it would be contracted because it is airborne. And they knew what was happening and they didn't tell you. Can you imagine if you knew on January 28th, as opposed to March 13th, what they knew, what you might have done to prepare? They knew and they covered it up.
About toilet
The
paper.
president said it was a hoax. They minimized the seriousness of it. The president said, you're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask, you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't. And in spite of all of that, today they still don't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. Well, Joe Biden does. And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine, and making sure that it will be free for all. That is the plan that Joe Biden has and that I have, knowing that we have to get a hold of what has been going on, and we need to save our country. And Joe Biden is the best leader to do that. And frankly, this administration has forfeited
Thank you, Senator
their right to
Harris.
reelection based
Their
on this.
only
Thank you,
plan is
Senator
to do
Harris.
better contract tracing.
Vice President Pence,
and medical
more
care?
than
We're gonna suck
210,000
less.
Americans have died of COVID-19
Huh.
since February.
Okay.
The U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population is higher than that of almost every other wealthy nation on earth. For instance, our death rate is 2.5 times that of Canada next door. You head the administration's coronavirus task force. Why is the U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population higher than that of almost every other wealthy country? And you have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Susan, thank you. And I want to thank the Commission and the University of Utah for hosting this event. And
Is
Senator
Susan
Harris,
a Democrat or
it's a privilege to
Republican?
be on the stage with you.
You don't know.
And our nation has gone through a very challenging time this year.
These are good.
But I want the American people to know
You got to get this on the
that from the
menu.
very first day,
Work.
President Donald Trump has put the health of America first. Before there were more than 5 cases in the United States, all people who had returned from China, President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done. And that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world.
He did.
Yeah.
Now, Senator Joe Biden opposed that decision. He said it was xenophobic and hysterical. But I can tell you, having led the White House Coronavirus Task Force, that that decision alone by President Trump bought us invaluable time to stand up the greatest national mobilization since World War II. And I believe it saved hundreds of thousands of American lives. Because with that time, we were able to reinvent testing. More than 115 million tests have been done to date. We were able to see to the delivery of billions of supplies so our doctors and nurses had the resources and support they needed. And we began really before the month of February was out to develop a vaccine and to develop medicines and therapeutics that have been saving lives all along the way. And under President Trump's leadership, Operation Warp Speed, we believe we'll have literally tens of millions of doses of a vaccine before the end of this year. The reality is, when you look at the Biden plan, it reads an awful lot like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of the way. And quite frankly, when I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine, it looks a little bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about. I think the American people know that this is a president who has put
Look at
the health of
Kamala. She
America
thought it was
first, and
funny,
the
too.
American people, I believe with my heart, can be
Thank you,
proud
Vice
of the
President Pence.
sacrifices they have made. It's saved
Thank you,
countless
Vice President
American
Pence.
lives.
Senator Harris, would you
Oh.
like to respond?
Absolutely. Whatever the vice president is claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't worked. When you're looking at over 210,000 dead bodies in our country, American lives that have been lost, families that are grieving that loss. And you know, the vice president is the head of the task force and knew on January 28th how serious this was. And then thanks to Bob Woodward, we learned that they knew about it.
Wow.
And then when that was exposed, the vice president said, when asked, well, why didn't y'all tell anybody? He said, because the president wanted people to remain calm.
Well, let's get
No, but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to
have
add,
to
but
weigh in here.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh in.
speaking.
Yeah, you
So
can have
I
15 more
wanna-
seconds, and then we'll give the vice president
Thank
a
you.
chance to
So I
respond.
want to ask the American people, how calm were you when you were panicked about where you're going to get your next roll of toilet paper? How calm were you when your kids were sent home from school and you didn't know when they could go back? How calm
Thank
were
you.
you
Thank
when
you,
your
Senator
children
Harris.
couldn't see your parents because
Crazy
you
people
were
and their
afraid they
toilet
could
paper.
kill them?
Let's give Vice
fucked
President
up.
Pence a chance to respond. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute
How
to
come
You know,
respond.
you
there's
and
not a
your
day gone by that
retirement
I
fund
haven't thought of
dropped
every
like
American family
30%?
that's lost a loved one. And I want all of you to know that you'll always be in our hearts and in our prayers. But when you say what the American people have done over these last 8 months hasn't worked, that's a great disservice to the sacrifices the American people have made.
I'm referring to
The
the
reality,
president.
if I may finish, Senator, the reality is Dr. Fauci said everything that he told the president in the Oval Office, the president told the American people. Now, President Trump, I will tell you, has boundless confidence in the American people, and he always spoke with confidence that we'd get through this together. But when you say it hasn't worked, when Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and our medical experts came to us in the second week of March, they said if the president didn't take the unprecedented step of shutting down roughly half of the American economy, that we could lose 2.2 million Americans. That's the reality.
Thank you.
They also
Thank you,
said
Vice
to us, if
President
we did
Pence.
everything
They
right,
said that.
Susan, we could still lose more
Did
than
they really?
200,000 Americans.
Vice
Now,
President
one
Pence,
life lost is
Thank
too
you.
many, Susan. But the American people, I believe, deserve credit for the sacrifices that they have made, putting the health of their family and their neighbors first, our doctors, our nurses, our first
thank you, Vice
responders.
President Pence.
And I'm going to speak up
Oh,
on
Mike.
behalf of what the American people have done.
Go,
Vice
Mike.
President Pence, you were in the front row
Let's get
in a
going with
Rose
that.
Garden event 11 days ago at what seems to have been a super spreader event for senior administration and congressional officials. No social distancing, few masks, and now a cluster of coronavirus cases among those who were there. How can you expect Americans to follow the administration's safety guidelines to protect themselves from COVID when you at the White House have not been doing so?
Well, the American people have demonstrated over the last 8 months that when given the facts, they're willing to put the health of their families and their neighbors and people they don't even know first. President Trump and I have great confidence in the American people and their ability to take that information and put it into practice. In the height of the epidemic, when we were losing a heartbreaking number of 2,500 Americans a day, we surged resources to New Jersey and New York and New Orleans and Detroit. We told the American people what needed to be done, and the American people made the sacrifices. When the outbreak in the Sun Belt happened this summer, again, Americans stepped forward. But the reality is the work of the President of the United States goes on. A vacancy on the Supreme Court of the United States has come upon us, and the President introduced Judge Amy Coney
Yes,
Barrett.
thank you. Thank you, Vice
But at
President Pence.
that, if I may say, that Rose Garden event, there's been a great deal of speculation about it. My wife Karen and I were there and honored to be there. Many of the people who were at that event, Susan, actually were tested
Yes.
for coronavirus. And it was an outdoor event, which all of our scientists regularly and routinely advise. The difference here is President Trump and I trust the American people to make choices in the best interest of their health. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris consistently talk about mandates, and not just mandates with the coronavirus, but a government takeover of healthcare.
Thank you. Thank
The
you.
Green
Vice
New
President Pence.
Deal, all government
Pence
control.
just
We're
keeps
about
going.
freedom and respecting
Oh,
the
yeah,
freedom
She's
of the
going to have to
American
reel
people.
him in.
Let's talk about respecting the
He's
American
fired up.
people. You respect the American people when you tell them the truth. You respect the American people when you have the courage
Which we've
to be a
always
leader,
done.
speaking of those things that you may not want people to hear, but they need to hear so they can protect themselves. But this administration stood on information that if you had as a parent, if you had as a worker, knowing you didn't have enough money saved up, and now you're standing in a food line because of the ineptitude of an administration that was unwilling to speak the truth to the American people. So let's talk about caring about the American people. The American people have had to sacrifice far too much because of the incompetence of this administration. It is asking too much of the people.
Susan, we talked
No,
about
Vice
the
It is
President
American
asking
people.
too much of the people.
Let-
That they would not be equipped with the information they need to help themselves to protect
Susan,
their
the
parents
President-
and
No,
their
I'm
You should
sorry.
go to
children.
Chinatown.
Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, I mean, I'm sorry.
It's fine, I'm Kamala.
No, you're Senator Harris to me. For life to get back to normal, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other experts say
How do
that
you say
most
your
of the
name?
people who
Kamala?
can be vaccinated need to be vaccinated. But half of Americans
Kamala.
now say they
Kamala?
wouldn't take the
Kamala.
vaccine.
I don't
if
know
it
who
was
that is.
released now.
Okay.
If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans
Mike's much easier.
take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci,
It was,
if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Joe and Don.
And then
Vice
Cuomo-
President
Cuomo has
Pence,
to
there have
give
been
it
a lot of
stamp, too.
repercussions from this pandemic. In recent days, the president's diagnosis of COVID-19 has underscored the importance of the job that you hold and that you are seeking. That's our second topic tonight. It's the role of the vice president. One of you will make history on January 20th. You will be the vice president to the oldest president the United States has ever had.
Whoa.
Donald Trump will be 74 years old on Inauguration Day.
Unless
Joe
Joe
Biden will
Jorgensen
be
wins.
78 years old. That already has raised concerns among some voters, concerns that have been sharpened by President Trump's hospitalization in recent days. Vice
How old's
President
Mike,
Pence,
do you
have you
think?
had a conversation or reached an
Mike-
agreement
Mike
with
Pence?
President
Yeah.
Trump about safeguards or procedures when
He's
it comes to
ageless.
the issue
Ageless.
of presidential disability? And if not,
These things
do you
are
think you
addicting.
should? You have 2 minutes without interruption.
Well, Susan,
New menu
thank
item.
you, although I would like to go back.
I think we
To,
need to move on
well,
to the
thank
issue
you,
of
but I would like to
vice
go back
presidency.
because the reality is that we're going to have a vaccine, Senator, in record time, in unheard of time, in less than a year. We have 5 companies in phase 3 clinical trials, and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges
Billions and
during the
billions.
Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives. The reality is that we will have a vaccine, we believe, before the end of this year. And it will have the capacity to save countless American lives. And your continuous undermining of confidence in a vaccine is just, it's just unacceptable.
It's not
And let me
American.
also say, you know, the reality is when you talk about failure in this administration, we actually do know what failure looks like in a pandemic. It was 2009. The swine flu arrived in the United States. Thankfully, it ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu. 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu. If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus in 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives. His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year that it was pure luck that they did, quote, everything possible wrong. And we learned from that. They left the strategic national stockpile empty. They left an empty and hollow plan, but we
Thank you,
still
Vice
learned
President
from it.
Pence.
And I think
Vice
the
President
American
Pence, your time
people,
is
I'm going
up.
to say again, can be
Vice
proud
President Pence, I'm
of
sorry, your
what
time
we
is
have
up.
done. And Senator, please
Thank you, Vice
stop
President
undermining
Pence.
confidence in a vaccine.
Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked
Sure.
Vice President Pence, which is, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with Vice President Biden about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, and if you win the election next month, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So let me tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call, asking me to serve with him on this ticket was probably one of the most memorable days of my life. I thought about my mother.
I just don't like the way he selected her.
Came to the United States at the age of 19, gave birth to me at the age of 25.
I just wish he would have picked the best person for the job.
California.
Not
and
stereotyped
the thought that I'd be
anybody or
sitting here
pick
right
somebody
now,
by their sex or
I know
color.
would make her proud. She must be
I
looking
hate
down on
identity
us.
politics.
Joe
Identity
and I were
politics,
raised in a
exactly.
very similar way.
Yeah.
We were raised with values that are about hard work, about the value and the dignity of public service, and about the importance of fighting for the dignity of all people. And I think Joe asked me to serve with him because, I have a career that included being elected the first woman district attorney of San
John
Francisco,
McCain was guilty
where
of
I
it too.
created models
paid
of
for it.
innovation for law enforcement in terms of reform of the criminal justice system. I was elected the first woman of color and Black woman to be elected Attorney General of the state of California, where I ran the second largest Department of Justice in the United States, second only to the United States Department of Justice. And there I took on everything from transnational criminal organizations to the big banks that were taking advantage of homeowners to for-profit colleges that were taking advantage of veterans. And then, of course, now I serve in the United States Senate as only the second Black woman ever elected to the United States Senate. I serve on the Senate Intelligence Committee, where I've been in regular receipt of classified information about threats to our nation and hotspots around the world. I've traveled the world. I've met with our soldiers in war zones. And I think Joe has asked me to serve with him because he knows that we share a purpose, which is about lifting up the American people. And after the 4 years that we have seen of Donald Trump unifying our country around our common values and principles.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Neither President Trump nor Vice
He
President
said he
Biden
was
has
going to
released
pick
a
a
sort of
female in the beginning.
detailed health information that had become the modern norm until the 2016
That's why he
election.
picked her, really.
And in recent days, President Trump's doctors have given misleading answers or
female of
refused to
color.
answer basic questions about his health. And my question to each of you in turn is this information voters deserve to know? Vice President Pence, would you like to go first?
You're right,
Well,
Sean.
Susan, thank you. And let me say, on behalf of the President and the First Lady, how moved we've all been by the outpouring of prayers and concern for the President. And I do believe it's emblematic of the prayers and the concern that have ushered forth for every American impacted by the coronavirus. But the care the President received at Walter Reed Hospital, the White House doctors, was exceptional. And the transparency that they practiced all along the way will continue. The American people have a right to know about the health and well-being of their president, and will continue
They're
to
talking
do
about
that.
Trump leaving.
But I'm just
the
extremely
hospital.
grateful
Cheers, man.
and was
It's all you.
more than a little moved
That was a
by
little
the
weird
broad and
that Trump
bipartisan
drive
support.
around
And,
outside the hospital.
Senator, I want to
That's
thank
really
you and Joe
weird.
Biden for
I
your
don't know what they're
expressions of
thinking.
genuine concern.
Just like go home.
And I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call, on the historic nature of your nomination.
Thank you.
I never expected to be on this stage 4 years ago, so I know the feeling. But the reality is we've got an election before the American people in the midst of this challenging year. And the stakes have never been higher, but I think the choice has never been clearer.
I want to give Senator Harris a chance to respond to the same question I asked, which is, do voters have a right to know more detailed health information about presidential candidates and especially about presidents, especially when they're facing some kind of challenge?
Absolutely. And that's why Joe Biden has been so incredibly
hear that?
transparent. And certainly by contrast, the president has
They're
not.
saying she said Joe
both in
Biden's
terms of
transparent about his
records,
health.
But also let's look at
Jesus
taxes.
Christ.
He wouldn't take a drug
We
test.
now know because of great
Would he?
investigative
Nobody's going to take a
journalism
drug test.
that Donald Trump paid
Trump would've.
$750 in taxes.
If Joe did,
When
wouldn't
I
Trump
first
take it?
heard about it,
Just
I
show 'em
literally
up.
said, "You mean
go.
$750,000?" And it was like, no, $750.
I want to see him take drug
We now
tests. I
know
think it'd be
Donald
funny.
Trump owes and is in debt
Yeah.
for $400
how you feel,
million.
but-
And just so everyone is clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know who the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, owes money to, because
China.
the American people have a right to know what is
Russia.
influencing
I'd say Russia
the
or
president's
China, probably.
decisions. And is he making those
Ukraine.
decisions on the best interest of the American people, of you,
No,
or
Hunter
self-interest?
Biden runs
So,
Ukraine.
Susan, I'm glad you asked about transparency, because it has to be across the board. Joe has been incredibly transparent over many,
I'm in
many
debt, Gina.
years.
Lots
The
of
one
it.
thing we
Me
all
too.
know about Joe, he puts it all out there. He is honest, he is forthright. But Donald Trump, on the other hand,
Susan.
has been
Thank-
about covering up everything.
Thanks.
Jesus
Thank you,
Christ.
Senator Harris. I want to give you a chance to respond, Vice President.
Well, look, I respect the fact that Joe Biden spent 47 years in public life. I respect your
We need
public
toothpicks.
service as well.
You can't eat.
The American
oh, you got
people
a
have a president
toothpick.
who was a businessman,
Sorry, I didn't bring you
job
one.
creator.
There's
He's
some
paid
upstairs.
Tens of millions of dollars in taxes, payroll taxes, property taxes. He's created tens of thousands of American jobs.
Didn't
The
they say
president
he
said those
prepaid his
public
taxes?
reports are
Yeah.
not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures the American people can review just as the law allows. But the distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in public service, compared to President Donald Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years ago.
Thank you, Vice
And
President.
turned this economy around by cutting taxes, rolling back regulation,
Thank you,
unleashing
Vice
American
President.
energy, fighting for free and fair trade, and all of
Thank-
that's
thank you,
on the
Vice
line
President
if
Pence.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, that's a
Or the
good
White
segue into our
practiced
third
that.
topic,
Segue.
which is about the economy.
You think so?
This has been
Yeah. At
another
least
aspect of
10 or
life for
15
Americans
times.
that's been so affected
Did it feel?
by this coronavirus. We have a
practiced?
jobs crisis brewing. On Friday, we learned that the unemployment rate had declined to 7.9% in September, but the job growth had stalled. And that was before the latest round of layoffs and furloughs in the airline industry at Disney and elsewhere. Hundreds of thousands of discouraged workers have stopped looking for work.
3,500 from
Nearly
United Air, but they
11
can
million jobs
sponsor
that
this
existed
debate.
at the beginning of the year
That's an
haven't
interesting
been
topic.
replaced.
I have to bring
Those
it up after.
hardest hit include Latinos, Blacks, and women. Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to boost the economy, and you would pay for that
Is
new
black's
spending
the
by
right way
raising
to say
$4
that?
trillion in
I don't know.
taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations.
Is it?
Some
What's proper,
economists warn that
African-American
could
or
curb entrepreneurial ventures
They're
that
not all
fuel
from
growth
Africa.
and create jobs.
Yeah, I guess.
Would raising
don't know.
taxes put the recovery at risk? And you have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
Thank you. On the issue of the economy, I think
I mean,
there
that's
couldn't be
true.
a more fundamental
Right,
difference
no.
between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe
I don't
Biden
know.
believes you measure
You're
the
crazy.
health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing, which is why he passed a tax
What are you
bill
looking at?
benefiting the top 1% and the biggest corporations of America, leading
You need some more
to
wine?
a $2 trillion deficit
That'll
that
make
the
things
American
better.
people are going to have to pay for.
Can't hurt.
Have
On
some
day
Miller's
one,
Cove
Joe
Red.
Biden will repeal that tax bill. He'll get rid of it. And what he'll do with the money is invest it in the American people. And through a plan that is about investing in infrastructure, something that Donald Trump said he would do. I
about you
remember
let
hearing
us
about
keep our
some
money?
infrastructure week. I don't think it ever happened. But Joe Biden will do that. He'll invest in infrastructure. It's about upgrading our roads and bridges, but also investing in clean energy and renewable energy. Joe is going to invest that money in what we need to do around innovation. There was a time when our country believed in science and invested in research and development.
I don't
so
care
that
where
we
you
were
sit
an
in politics, but if
innovation
you
leader
really think
on the globe.
Joe Biden
Joe
wins
Biden
this
will
seat
use
and
that
the
money to
economy
invest
does
in
better than it
education.
is with Trump, I don't see
So
that
for
happening.
example, for folks who want to go to a 2-year community college, it will be free.
What do you think?
If you come from a family that makes less than $125,000, you'll go to a public university for
I
free.
don't think it'll get better because
And
of
across
him.
the board, we'll make sure
doesn't mean it
that
won't get
if you have
better
student loan debt, it's cut by
regardless.
$10,000.
Yeah, maybe you're
That's how Joe Biden thinks about the economy, which is it's about investing in the people of our country as opposed to passing a tax bill,
My
which had the
girlfriend's dad.
benefit of letting American corporations go offshore
Sleepy
to
Joe.
do their business.
Oh, God.
Thank you,
You're
Senator
welcome.
Harris.
Thanks, Paul.
Vice President Pence, your administration has been predicting a
I'm
rapid
not trying
and
to pick
robust
sides. I'm just
recovery.
saying in general.
But the latest economic
you gotta
report
give
suggests
Trump that.
that's not happening. Should Americans be braced for an economic comeback that is going to take not months, but a year or more? You have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
When President Trump and I took office, America had gone
Show
through the
us.
slowest economic recovery
That's
since the
good.
Great Depression.
Holy shit.
When Joe Biden was vice president, they tried to tax and spend and regulate and bail our way back to a growing
Got this for a
economy.
second.
President Trump cut taxes across the board. Despite what Senator Harris says, the average American family of four had $2,000 in savings and taxes. And with the rise in wages that occurred, most predominantly for blue-collar, hardworking Americans, the average household income for a family of four increased by $4,000 following President Trump's tax cuts. But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell you, on day one, Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes. It's really remarkable to think, Susan. I mean, right after a time where we're going through a pandemic that lost 22 million jobs at the height, we've already added back 11.6 million jobs because we had a president who cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and secured $4 trillion from the Congress of the United States to give
Practice
direct
that.
payments to families, save 50 million jobs through the Paycheck Protection Program. We literally have spared no expense to help the American people and the American worker through this. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to raise taxes. They want to bury our economy under a $2 trillion Green New Deal, which you were one of the original co-sponsors of in the United States Senate. They want to abolish fossil fuels and ban fracking, which would cost hundreds of thousands of American jobs all across the heartland. And Joe Biden wants to go back to the economic surrender to China, that when we took office, half of our international trade deficit was with China alone. And Joe Biden wants to repeal all of the tariffs that President Trump put into effect to fight for American jobs and American workers.
Tariffs
Joe
and
Biden
taxes.
says democracy's on the ballot. Make no mistake about it, Susan. The American economy, the American comeback is on the ballot with 4 more years of growth
Thank you.
and opportunity,
Thank you,
4
Vice
more years of President Donald Trump. 2021
Thank
is
you,
going to
Vice
be the
President.
biggest economic year in the history of this country.
Thank you, Vice President Pence. Senator Harris.
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000
He said
a
he's going to
year.
repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well,
I'm speaking.
the important is you said the
Uninterrupted.
truth.
2 minutes.
Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to
Come on,
repeal
man.
the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year. Senator,
That is
that's the math.
absolutely not true. That
is he
tax
only
bill-
cutting? Is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then
Please.
have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay. Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden is the one who, during the Great Recession, was responsible for the Recovery Act that brought America back. And now the Trump-Pence administration wants to take credit when they rode the coattails of Joe Biden's success for the economy that they had at the beginning of their term. Of course, now the economy is a complete disaster. But Joe Biden, on the one hand, did that. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who has reigned over a recession that is being compared to the Great Depression. On the one hand, you have Joe Biden, who was responsible with President Barack Obama for the Affordable Care Act, which brought health care to over 20 million Americans and protected people with pre-existing conditions. And what it also did is it saved those families who otherwise were going bankrupt because of hospital bills they could not afford. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's in court right now, trying to get rid of,
Thank you, Senator
trying to
Harris.
get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which means that you will lose protections if you have pre-existing conditions. And this is very important, Susan.
Yes,
And it's
but we need
important
to give Vice President.
I'd just like, he interrupted me, and I'd like to just finish, please. If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease,
dramatic.
diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you. If you love someone who has a pre-existing
It's nonsense.
condition,
Thank you,
they're
Senator
coming
Harris.
for you. If you are under the age of 26 on your parents' coverage, They're
water.
coming for you.
Senator Harris, thank you. Let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, I hope we have a chance to talk about health care because Obamacare was a disaster. The American people remember it well.
Obama.
President Trump and I have a plan to improve health care and to protect pre-existing conditions for every American. But look, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. You yourself said on multiple occasions when you were running for president that you would ban fracking. Joe Biden looked at a supporter in the eye and pointed and said, I guarantee
Marla.
that we will abolish fossil fuel. They have a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal, Susan, that your newspaper, USA Today, said really wasn't that very different from the original Green New Deal.
She works at USA Today.
More taxes, more regulation, banning fracking, abolishing fossil fuel, crushing American energy, and economic surrender to China is a prescription for economic decline. President Trump and I will keep America growing. The V-shaped recovery that's underway right now will continue with 4 more years of President Donald Trump.
Thank you very, very much.
She's gonna
Vice
say
President
K-shaped.
Pence. Once again, you've provided the
You think
perfect
so?
segue.
She's going to
a
say
new topic,
K-shaped.
which is
What do you wanna bet
climate
on it?
change. And Vice President Pence, I'd like to pose the first
A
question.
piece
to
of
you.
pasta. You'll eat a piece
This
of
year we've
pasta if
seen
you're wrong.
record-setting
Fuck that.
hurricanes in the south. Another one, Hurricane Delta, is now threatening the Gulf. And we have seen record-setting
bring pasta to
wildfires
work
in the
tomorrow.
West.
He's gonna need it.
Do you believe
I'll eat a
As the
chip if
scientific
she
community
doesn't
has
say
concluded
K-shaped at some
that
point.
man-made climate change has made wildfires bigger, hotter, and more deadly, and have made hurricanes wetter, slower, and more damaging?
You got to Swiffer
You
the
have 2
forest.
minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan.
Where's my sister?
First, I'm very proud of our
Yeah,
record
where
on
is
the
she?
environment and on conservation.
Give him potato
According
chip.
to all of the best estimates,
That'll kill him.
our air and land are cleaner than any time ever recorded.
It's
And
gonna
our
kill
water
you.
is among the cleanest in the world. And just a little while ago, the president signed the Outdoors Act. It's the largest investment in our public lands and public parks in 100 years. So President Trump has made a
I didn't even
commitment
hear
to
about that.
conservation.
Did
of
you know
the
he did that?
environment. Now, with regard to climate change,
What do you do?
the climate is changing. The issue is,
Are you listening?
what's the cause
Half the
and what do
time.
we do about it? President Trump has made it clear that we're going to continue to listen to the science. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. They'd impose the Green New Deal, which would crush American energy, would increase the energy costs of American
Are you against
families
the Green New
in their
Deal?
homes,
Yeah, it's bullshit.
literally would crush
so?
American jobs.
I haven't really looked
President
into
Trump and I believe that the progress that we have made in a cleaner environment has been happening precisely because we have a strong free market economy. You know, what's remarkable is the United States has reduced CO2 more than the countries that are still in the Paris Climate Accord, but we've done it through innovation.
it. Is that
And
true?
we've done it through
I don't
natural gas
Have to fact
and
check that.
fracking,
Somebody fact check
which,
that.
Senator, the American people can
Jamie,
go
is
look
that
at the
true?
record. I
Do we have fact
I know
check?
Joe
Can we pull
Biden
up fact check?
says otherwise now, as you do.
Gina, can you look that
But
up?
the both of you repeatedly committed to abolishing fossil fuel and banning fracking. And so by creating the kind of American innovation, we're actually steering toward a stronger and better environment. With regard to wildfires, President Trump and I believe that forest management
Bingo.
has to be front and center. And even Governor Gavin Newsom from your state has agreed we've
Who
got to
said
work
federal
on forest
investment? Was that Mike
management.
Pence?
And with regard to hurricanes,
Yeah.
the National Oceanic Administration tells us that actually as difficult
you.
as they are,
Thank you, Vice President.
there are no more hurricanes today than
Thank
there
you.
were 100 years ago.
Thank you.
But many of the
Pence
climate
loves to
put
alarmists
that
use
bam
hurricanes
at the
and
Just
wildfires
got it like
to try and
Thank
sell
you,
their
Vice
bill of
President
goods of
Pence.
a Green New Deal. And President Trump and I are going to always put
Thank you,
American
Vice
jobs and
President
American
Pence.
workers
Come on,
first.
Mike.
Senator Harris, as the Vice President mentioned, you co-sponsored the Green New Deal in Congress. But Vice President Biden said
Wazowski.
in last week's debate that he does not support the Green New Deal. But if you look at the Biden-Harris campaign website, it describes the Green New Deal as a crucial framework. What exactly would be the stance of a Biden-Harris administration toward the Green New Deal? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. So first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That
will
is a
not.
fact. That is a fact.
Are we against
I
fracking in
will
the Finger Lakes? Aren't we?
repeat that
Some people
Joe
are.
Biden has
How do
been
you
very
feel?
clear that he thinks about growing
I haven't picked
jobs,
a
which
side.
is why he will not increase taxes for anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. Joe Biden's economic plan, Moody's, which is a reputable Wall Street firm,
Who makes more than
has said will create
$400,000
7
a
million
year?
more jobs than Donald
A lot of
Trump's.
people.
How many
And
people around
part
here?
of those jobs that will be created by Joe Biden are going to be
20%.
about
You
clean
think
energy
so?
and renewable energy.
$400,000.
Because you see, Joe understands that
a
the
lot of
west
money,
coast
dude.
of our country is burning,
as a
including
couple.
my home state of
All the
California.
lake people.
Joe sees what is happening on the Gulf states, which are being battered by
Yeah,
storms.
but are they
Joe
residents?
has seen and talked with the farmers in Iowa whose entire crops have been destroyed because of floods. And so Joe believes, again, in science. I'll tell you something, Susan. I served when I first got
I
to
have
the
no
Senate
clue about
on
the
the
Green New
committee
Deal,
that's
Marla.
responsible for the environment. Do you know
No,
this
no clue.
administration took the word science off the website and then took the phrase climate change off the website? We have seen a pattern with this administration, which is they don't believe in science. And Joe's plan is about saying we're going to deal with it, but we're also going to create jobs. Donald Trump, when asked about the wildfires in California, and the question was, the science is telling us this, you know what Donald Trump said? Science doesn't know.
Give Elon more muscle.
Science
So,
doesn't know anything.
Let's talk about
Science
who
is
is
how
prepared to
you
lead our country over the
find
course of the next
information.
4
Give
years
Elon Musk
on
more
what is
money.
an existential
He'll
threat
take care of
to
it.
us
No,
as human
no.
beings. Joe is
It's just
about
he's
saying
got
we're going to
electric
invest that
done.
in
He's
renewable
ready.
energy. It's going to be
Electric
about the
everything.
creation of millions of jobs. We will achieve net zero emissions by 2050, carbon neutral by 2035. Joe has a plan.
Bullshit.
This has been a lot of talk from the Trump administration, and really it has been to go backward instead of forward. We will also re-enter the climate agreement with pride.
Senator Harris just said that climate change is an existential threat. Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
As I said, Susan, the climate is changing. We'll follow the science. But
And the puppy.
once again,
getting older.
Senator Harris is denying the fact that they're going to raise taxes on every American. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that on day one, he was going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. Those tax cuts delivered $2,000 in tax relief to the average family of four across America. And with regard to banning fracking, I just recommend that people look at the record. You yourself said repeatedly that you would ban fracking. You were the first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. And while Joe Biden denied the Green New Deal, Susan, thank you for pointing out, the Green New Deal is on their campaign website. And as USA Today said, it's essentially the same plan as you co-sponsored
Oh,
with
shit.
AOC when she submitted it in the Senate. And you just heard the senator say that she's going to resubmit America to the Paris Climate Accord. Look, the American people have always cherished our
That's the guy that
environment. We'll
knows.
continue to cherish it. We've made great progress reducing CO2 emissions through American
I've
innovation
disagreed
and the
with
development of natural gas through fracking.
Literally nothing
We
Sean's ever
don't
said.
need
so.
a massive $2
Unless he disagrees
trillion
with me,
Green
then you're
New
wrong,
Deal
Sean.
that would impose all new mandates on American
get this right.
businesses and American families.
Thank you.
Joe Biden wants us
Thank
to
you, Vice
retrofit
President.
4 million
like
Thank you, Vice
American
President.
business buildings. It makes no sense. It will cost jobs. President Trump
Thank
is
you,
going to
Vice
put
President.
America first. He's going to put jobs first, and we're
I
going
wonder
to
what
take
Kamala's
care of our environment and follow the science.
net
Thank
worth
you,
But,
is.
on the issue
That's a
of
good
jobs,
question.
Senator Harris.
let's talk about that. The vice president earlier
got that
referred
backdoor
to,
money.
as part of
Not
what he
that-
thinks is an
can't say
that
accomplishment,
way.
You can't say that.
the president's trade
Deep
war
state.
with China.
We're going to get
You lost that
demonetized.
trade
Fake
war.
news.
You lost it. What ended up happening is because of a so-called trade war with China, America lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs. Farmers have experienced bankruptcy because of it. We are in a manufacturing recession because of it. And when we look at where this administration has been, there are estimates that by the end of the term of this administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration. And the American people know what I'm talking about.
I love how
You
Mike just
know.
looks at Susan.
I think about
Susan.
20-year-olds. You know, we have a
Fucking
20-year-old,
virus.
I don't know.
20-something-year-old.
I just really don't like
high school
Kamala.
and college right now,
So
and you're
it's so hard
wondering,
for me to
is
stay
there going to be a
neutral here.
job there for me? We're looking at people who are trying to
I think
figure
we're doing
out
okay
how
until
they're
the
going to
virus.
pay rent by the end of the month.
Her
Almost
record as a
half of American
prosecutor
renters
disgusts me.
are worried
I mean,
about
you know
whether
that.
they're going to be
So-
able to pay rent by the end of the month.
She's doing
this
the
is
thumb
where
thing.
the economy
She
is
did
in
it.
America right
Finish
now.
your drink.
And it is because of the catastrophe and the failure of leadership of this administration.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you just 15 seconds to respond because then I want to move on.
15
Well, I'd
seconds.
love to respond. Look, lost the trade war with China. Joe Biden never fought it. Joe Biden has been a cheerleader
he's
for
not
communist
wrong.
China through over the last several decades. And again, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. When Joe Biden was vice president, we lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs. And President Obama said they were never coming back. He
I
said
don't
we
like
need a
when they
magic
use
wand to
statistics
bring them
because I
back.
just don't know
In our
what's true
first
and
3
what's
years
not.
after we cut
That's
taxes,
Thank you,
rolled back
Vice President.
regulation, unleashed American energy, this administration saw 500,000
Thank you, Vice
manufacturing
President
jobs
Pence.
created. And that's exactly the kind of growth we're going to continue to see as we bring our nation through
Thank you, Vice
this
President
pandemic.
Pence.
But a
Mr.
Green New
Thank you,
Deal,
Vice
your
President
vaccine
Pence.
mandate, your Paris Climate Accord, it's going
Is
to
that
kill
right?
jobs this time, just
We
like
love
it
you,
killed
Ruth.
jobs.
I'd
Susan,
like
I just need to respond very
to,
briefly.
15
please.
seconds and
Thank
then
you.
we'll move
Thank
on.
you.
15 seconds.
Joe Biden is
That's not long
responsible
at
for
all.
saving America's auto industry, and you voted against it. So let's set the record straight. Thank you.
Ooh.
I'd like to talk about China.
Oh,
We
shit.
have,
She one-lined
as
him.
our next topic, we have no more complicated or consequential foreign relationship than the one with China.
Is this one
It
90 minutes
is
as
a
well?
huge market
China.
for American agricultural
Yeah,
goods.
cool.
It's a potential partner in
Starting to
dealing
get
with
a
climate
buzz,
change in North
feeling it.
Korea. And in a
Ready.
video tonight, President Trump again blamed it
Yeah, you're
for
gonna
the
need some apple pie, buddy.
coronavirus, saying China will pay. Vice President Pence, how would you describe our
I gave
fundamental
myself ginger
relationship
ale,
with
but I know
China?
you can't have soda, so I
Competitors,
didn't do that to you.
adversaries,
I mean, I could.
enemies? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Susan. Well, before I leave that, let me speak to voting records if I can. You know, everybody knows that
Bacon-wrapped
NAFTA cost
steak.
literally
That shit was
Oh, yeah.
thousands
That's
of
the
American
shit.
factories.
Why is
were
that
closed.
still not on the menu?
We saw automotive jobs
Should
go
be.
south of the border. President Trump fought to renegotiate NAFTA. And the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now the law of the land. American people deserve to know Senator Kamala Harris was one of only 10 members of the Senate to vote against the USMCA.
Damn.
It was a huge win for American auto workers. It was a huge win for American farmers, especially
know what the
dairy in the upper
USMCA is?
Midwest.
Mexico.
But Senator, you said it didn't go far
Canada
enough on climate
agreement.
change.
It's like
that you
it
put
replaced
your
NAFTA.
radical environmental agenda
Oh, okay.
ahead
Yeah.
of American auto workers and ahead of American jobs. I think the American people deserve to know that. Is probably why Newsweek magazine said that Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019, more liberal than Bernie Sanders, more liberal than any of the others in the United States Senate. So now with regard to China, but Susan, first and foremost, China is to blame for the coronavirus.
You got to throw it on China.
And President Trump is not happy about it.
I mean,
He's made that very clear, made it clear again today. China and the World Health Organization did not play straight with the American people. They did not let our personnel into China to get information on the coronavirus until the middle of February. Fortunately, President Trump, in
Bullshit.
dealing with China from the outset of this
What?
administration, standing up to China that had been taking advantage of
China.
America for
Yeah.
decades,
No, I mean, it's
in the
bullshit
wake
that
of
they did that.
Joe Biden's cheerleading for China.
you got,
President Trump made that
you gotta
decision
throw it
before
on
the end of
Yeah.
January to suspend all travel from China. And again, the American people deserve to know Joe Biden opposed President Trump's decision to suspend all travel from China. He said it was hysterical. He said it was
Thank you, Vice
xenophobic.
President Pence.
But President Trump has
Vice President
stood
Pence,
up
your
to
time is
China.
up.
We're going to continue to stand strong.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
We want to improve the relationship, but we're going to level the playing field. And we're
Thank
going to
you.
hold
Vice President
China
Pence.
accountable for what they did to America.
yeah,
with
I
the
don't think
coronavirus.
she's more
Thank you.
liberal than Bernie.
Senator Harris, let me
Bernie's
ask
as
you the
liberal as it
same
gets.
question that I asked the
Can
Vice
you
President.
get more
How
liberal
would
than
you
Bernie?
describe our fundamental relationship with
Yeah.
China? Are we
Really?
competitors,
Trotsky.
adversaries,
True.
enemies?
Yeah, but
We'll
not
have
not
2
Kamala.
minutes
She's
uninterrupted.
not more liberal. I don't know.
Susan, the Trump administration's perspective and approach to China has resulted in the
comment
loss
kills
of
me.
American
It's
lives,
funny.
American jobs, and America's standing.
She does look hungry.
There's a weird obsession that President Trump has had
And it was
with
said
getting
about
rid
her.
of whatever
Okay, Sarah.
accomplishment was achieved by President Obama and Vice President Biden.
We need to fact
For
check her on
example,
set.
They created
Fact
within
check
the
what?
White House
We need a
an
fact
office
checker on
that
set.
basically was responsible for
Yes.
monitoring
Yeah.
pandemic.
We need-
Where's
Good one.
Jamie?
They got away. They got rid of it.
Sarah, we
There
need you in studio.
Was a team of disease experts that President Obama and Vice President Biden dispatched to China to monitor
Sarah's in
what
Iowa.
is now predictable
come on,
and
Sarah.
what might happen.
Get a
They
plane
pulled
ticket
them
here.
out.
Come on.
We now
Let's
are
get this
looking
done.
at 210,000 Americans who have lost their lives. Let's look at the job situation.
That's a
We
lot of
mentioned
people.
before the trade
Did you see
deal,
all the seats set up?
the trade war.
That picture they
They
took
wanted
of
to
all the
call
people
it
that
with
lost their
China.
lives?
It resulted in the loss
crazy.
of over 300 manufacturing jobs and a
I
manufacturing
wonder how much that
recession.
would cost.
And the American
Here's my
consumer
credit card,
paying
Phil.
thousands
Sarah,
of
find out
dollars
how much that would
more
cost.
for goods because of that failed war. that
She's
they
going to fly in
called
a
it.
biplane. I'm
Then
not
let's
getting her
talk
a
about
good.
standing.
We got a
Pew,
credit card.
a reputable research firm, has done an analysis that shows that leaders of all of our
tax
formerly
deduction.
allied countries
It is.
have now decided that they hold in greater esteem and respect Xi Jinping, the head of the Chinese Communist Party, than they do Donald Trump, the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States. This is where we are today because of a failure of leadership by this administration.
Do you want diplomacy or not? Like, what do you
Senator
want?
Harris, we've seen changes in the.
I mean, I
in
just
the
know
role of
Trump
the
really
United
tried
States
to.
in terms of global
He tried to
leadership
shut down travel.
over
I
the
know it
past
was in the
4 years.
beginning.
And
but
of course, times
and
do
they fought
change.
him on it.
What's your
Maybe he did
definition?
screw up
We've
here and
seen
there,
strains
but
with China, of course,
who's not going
as
to?
the Vice President
I mean,
mentioned.
I don't know.
We've seen strains with our traditional allies in NATO and elsewhere. What is your definition of the role of American leadership in 2020?
So, Joe is, I love talking with Joe about a lot of these issues.
Hey, guys,
And,
one more
Joe,
time, if
I
anyone
think
that's
he said
here
it
and
quite well.
new,
He says,
if you'd like
foreign policy
like
might
the
sound
stream and share
complicated,
it,
but
we'd
really it's
appreciate it.
relationships. So just think about it as relationships.
Helps us get out there
And
for the rest
so
of
we
the.
know this in our personal
non-believers
professional
of it's rare.
relationships. You got to keep your word to your friends. Got to be loyal to your friends. People who've stood with you, got to stand with them. You got to know who your adversaries are and keep them in check. But what we have seen with Donald Trump is that he has betrayed our friends and embraced dictators around the world. Let's take, for example, Russia.
office with like an American flag?
So, Russia, I serve on the Intelligence Committee of the United States
I'll
Senate.
show you some pictures later.
America's intelligence community told us Russia interfered in the election
You
of the
think she has
President of the United
friends?
States in 2016 and
It's
is
cute.
playing in 2020. Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, said the same. But Donald Trump, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America, prefers to take the word of Vladimir Putin over the word of the American intelligence community. You look at our
Do you have anyone
friends
watching
at
on
NATO.
YouTube?
He has walked away from
I don't know.
agreements. You can talk. Look at the Iran
I don't know
nuclear
how to
deal,
tell.
which now has put us in a position where we are less
Send us a
safe
comment if
because
you're
they are
watching on
building
YouTube.
up what might end up being a significant nuclear arsenal. We were in that deal, guys. We were in the Iran nuclear
Does
deal
she
with
really?
friends, with allies around the country. And because of Donald Trump's unilateral approach to foreign policy, coupled with his isolationism, he pulled us out and has made America less safe. So, Susan, it's about relationships.
Sorry.
And the thing that has always been part of the strength of our nation,
Sean
in
kills
addition
me.
to our
I gotta
great
meet Sean.
military, has been that
Yeah,
we
you do.
keep
Next
our
time he's
word.
here,
But
we all
Donald
gotta
Trump
meet up.
doesn't
He's a good dude.
understand
That'd be
that
sweet.
because he doesn't understand what it means to be honest.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, thank you. Well, President Trump kept his
Jay's
word
watching
when he
on
moved the
YouTube. There
American
you go.
embassy to Jerusalem,
She was gone
capital of the state of Israel.
for the weekend for-
When Joe Biden was vice president, they promised to do that and they never did. We've stood strong with our allies, but we've been demanding. NATO is now contributing more to our common defense than ever before, thanks to President Trump's leadership. We've strengthened our alliances across the Asia Pacific, and we've stood strong against those who would do us harm. You know, when President Trump came into office, ISIS had captured an area of the Middle East the size of Pennsylvania. But President
Can you
Trump
put Marla's comment on
unleashed the
screen just
American
for
military,
hilariousness?
and
for
our
me?
armed forces destroyed the ISIS caliphate and took down their leader al-Baghdadi without one American casualty. Al-Baghdadi
with
was
her and her deer head in the
responsible
background.
for the death
Nice.
of thousands. But notably, America's hearts today are with the family of
That's the
Kayla
deer
Miller,
head in the
the
Laurentide,
parents of which are here with us
Oh,
tonight
cool.
in Salt Lake
Yeah.
City. Today,
the greatest beer in the Finger Lakes.
two of the ISIS killers
Maybe the world.
responsible for Kayla Miller's murder were brought to justice in the United States.
It's the greatest.
Jihadi John was killed on the battlefield along with the other beetle. The reality is that when Joe Biden was vice president, we had an opportunity to save Kayla Miller. It breaks
Drank
my heart to
billions
reflect
and
on it, but the
billions.
military came into the Oval Office, presented a plan. They said they knew where Kayla was. Baghdadi had held her for 18 months, abused her mercilessly before they killed her. But when Joe Biden was vice president, they hesitated for a month. And when armed forces finally went in, it was clear she'd been moved 2 days earlier. And her family says with a heart that broke the heart of every American that if President Donald Trump had been president, they believe Kayla would be alive today.
Thank you, Vice
Look, we
President.
destroyed the ISIS caliphate. And you talk about re-entering the Iran nuclear deal. I mean, the last administration transferred $1.8 billion to the leading state sponsor
Thank you, Vice
of
President.
terrorism. President Donald Trump got us out of the
Thank you,
deal.
Vice President Pence.
And when Qasem Soleimani was traveling to
This is when I
Thank you,
need
Vice
Sean to
President.
speak
to
up, 'cause I feel like
Americans,
Sean knows way more
President
about
Donald
this than we
Trump
do.
Thank you, Vice
out.
President.
I need the
Pence.
military
America
stuff. I
is,
feel like he's
is
on
safer.
top of it.
Our allies are safer. And the American
So,
people know
He's got a little bit of
President Donald
experience there.
Trump will
Yeah.
never
Thank you,
think
Vice
so.
President
take
Pence.
action.
I would like to give
Senator.
Senator Harris a
looks
chance
like
to
he doesn't
respond,
joke
but
around.
not at such great length because, of course, there are other topics we want to talk
But
about.
I would like equal time.
Yes,
Thank you.
please go ahead.
First of all, to the Mueller family, I know about your daughter's case, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What happened to her is awful, and it should have never happened. And I know Joe feels the same way. And I know that President Obama feels the same way. But you mentioned Soleimani. Let's start there. So after the strike on Soleimani, there was a counter strike on our troops in Iraq. And they suffered serious brain injuries. And do you know what Donald Trump dismissed them as? Headaches. And this is about a pattern of Donald Trump's, where he has referred
Were they serious
to
injuries?
on.
our
Yeah,
men who are
any
serving
concussion
in
is a
our
serious
military
injury.
as
But they
suckers
fully
and
recovered,
losers.
right?
Donald
know.
Trump
I'm pretty sure
who
they
went
said
to
everyone fully
Arlington
recovered from that.
Cemetery
I don't know.
and stood
I don't know.
above
I don't
the
know either, I guess.
graves of our fallen
He's just as
heroes
ignorant about concussion as the average
and
person
said,
is.
Right. You're a
what's in
professional.
it for them?
Yeah.
So,
Because of course, he only thinks about what's in it.
were they
for him.
concussed? Is that what it
Let's
was?
take what
Yeah,
he
at
said
least.
about
I don't know
John
if there's anything
McCain,
else.
a great American hero. And Donald Trump says he doesn't deserve to be called a hero because he was a prisoner of war. And this is
Yeah,
very
DT messed up
important
there.
when you want to talk about who is the
Probably not the right
current
thing to
commander
say.
in chief and what they care about and what they don't care about. Public reporting that Russia had bounties on the heads of American soldiers. And you know what a bounty is? It's somebody puts a
we do.
price on your head and they will pay it if you are killed. And Donald Trump had talked at least 6 times to Vladimir Putin and never brought up the subject. Joe Biden would never do that.
Thank
Joe
you.
Biden would, but Joe
Kamala,
Biden
can we talk about
would hold
how many
Russia to account
innocent
for
people
any
you killed
threat
as a prosecutor by
to our
putting them in
nation's
prison and
security or to
ruining their
our
lives when they were
troops
innocent?
who are
That's some truth.
sacrificing their lives for the
Can
sake of our
she can't
democracy and our
preach this.
safety.
Thank you, Senator Harris. This is such an important issue, but we have other
Held
important
back
issues
DNA
as well.
evidence
And I
'cause
wanna-
it costs
I wanna make sure we have a
$25.
chance
I really have to
talk about-
respond to that.
I'm
Look, she has.
15 seconds
Kamala.
because
Well, I got to
we're
have
trying
more
to
than
keep.
that. Look,
Well, I'm sorry, but Vice President,
Look,
but you've
I-
had more time than she's had so
the
far.
slanders against President Donald Trump regarding men and women of our armed forces are absurd.
Don't
I'm sorry,
insult
Vice
My
me.
President
son is a
Pence.
captain in the United
Yes.
States Marine Corps. My son-in-law is deployed in the United States Navy. I can assure all of you, with sons and daughters serving in our military, President Donald Trump not only respects but reveres all of those who serve in our armed forces, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous.
Thank
me
you,
also
Vice
say
President Pence.
the
Vice
The
President
American
Pence,
people
you know,
deserve, Susan,
Vice
the
President
American
Pence,
people
I
deserve to
didn't,
know.
Vice
gotta bring
President
them
Pence,
home.
I did not,
You
excuse
can't
me,
deny.
Susan, the
I did
American
not
people
create
deserve
the
to know
rules for tonight.
Joe Biden.
Your
and
campaigns agreed to the rules for tonight's
I-
debate with the Commission on Presidential Debates. I'm here to enforce them, which involves moving from one topic to another, giving roughly equal time to
She's
both
doing a
of
hell
you,
of a lot
which
better
is what I'm
job
trying
than
very hard to
Go
do.
right ahead.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
want to go ahead and move
Wallace
to the next
did.
topic,
Yeah,
which
he
is an
couldn't. He
important
couldn't
one,
reel those
as
two
the
in.
last
couldn't
topic
handle
was,
It's like,
and that is the
These two
Supreme
are a little
Court.
bit easier to reel
it's like
in,
two
though.
pit bulls. for
On Monday,
holding
the
back.
Senate Judiciary
These two are a
Committee
little
is
more
scheduled to
proper.
open hearings on Amy Coney Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court. Senator Harris, you'll be there as a member of the committee. Her confirmation would cement the court's conservative majority and make it likely open to more abortion restrictions, even to
Fuck
overturning the
that.
landmark Roe v. Wade ruling.
False.
Access to abortion would then be up to the states.
It'll never get overturned.
Vice
gonna
President
happen.
Pence, you're the former governor of Indiana.
False dilemma.
If Roe v. Wade is overturned,
It just fits the
what
agenda.
would you
though.
want Indiana to do? Would you want your home state to ban all abortions? You have 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
Well, thank you for the question, but I'll use a little bit of my time to respond to that very important issue before. American people deserve to
TBI.
know.
What's that?
Qasem
Traumatic brain
Soleimani,
injury.
the
It's like
Iranian general, was responsible for the
concussion
death of
or
hundreds
worse.
of American service members. When the opportunity came, we saw him headed to Baghdad to kill more Americans. President Trump didn't hesitate, and Qasem Soleimani is gone. But you deserve to know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually criticized the decision to take out Qasem Soleimani. It's really inexplicable, but with regard to Joe Biden, it's explainable. Because history records that Joe
guy
Biden
seems like a
actually
real piece of
opposed the
shit.
raid against Osama bin Laden.
Soleimani?
Yeah.
He
It's
deserved to die.
absolutely essential that we have a commander in
I think it was
chief
the right move.
who will not hesitate to act to protect American lives and to protect American service members. And that's what you have in President Donald Trump. Now, with regard to the Supreme Court of the United States, let me say President Trump and I could not be more enthusiastic about the opportunity to see Judge Amy Coney Barrett become Justice Amy Coney Barrett. And she's a brilliant woman, and she will bring a lifetime of experience and a
He
sizable
loves her
American family
because she's so
to the Supreme Court of the United States.
religious. I'm sure.
And our hope is in the hearing next week, unlike Justice Kavanaugh received with treatment from you and others, we hope she gets a fair hearing. And we particularly hope that we don't see the kind of attacks on her Christian faith that we saw before. I mean, the Democrat chairman of the Judiciary Committee before, when Judge Barrett was being confirmed for the Court of Appeals, expressed concern that the dogma of her faith lived loudly in her. Dick Durbin of Illinois said that it was a concern. Senator, I know one of our judicial nominees, you actually attacked because they were a member of the Catholic Knights of Columbus, just because the Knights of Columbus holds pro-life views and
Thank you.
pro-marriage views.
Thank you, Vice President
So
Pence. Your
my
time
hope
is
is that
up.
when the hearing takes place,
Thank you, Vice
that-
President Pence.
that Judge Amy Coney Barrett will be respected,
Thank you,
treated
Vice President
respectfully,
Pence.
voted and confirmed
Thank
to the
you.
Supreme Court of the United States.
Senator Harris, you're the senator from and former
She's gonna get
Attorney General of
confirmed.
California. So let me ask you a parallel question to the one I posed to the Vice President. If Roe v. Wade is overturned,
It's not
what
going to
would you
happen.
want
Why do
California
they
to
keep
do? Would
bringing
you want
it
your
up?
home state
It's
to enact
never going to
no
get
restrictions
overturned.
Money.
on access to abortion?
It'll
And you
never
have
happen.
2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. First of all, Joe Biden and I are both people of faith, and it's insulting to suggest that we would knock anyone for
Yeah,
their
that's messed
faith.
up,
And in
Sean.
fact,
That's
Joe,
hard
if
to hear,
elected,
dude.
will be only the second practicing Catholic
It sucks.
as president of the United States. On the issue of this nomination, Joe and I are very clear, as are the majority of the American people. We are 27 days before the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And, you know, before, when this conversation has come up, you know, it's been about election year or election time. We're literally in an election. Over 4 million people have voted. People are in the process of voting right now. And so
Nobody's-
Joe has been
we're not gonna
very
wait 3
clear,
months.
as the American people are. Let the American people
4 months.
fill that seat in the White House, and then we'll fill that seat on the
It's
United
too
States
late.
Supreme Court. And
Yeah,
to
it
your
already
point,
happened.
Susan,
3 months.
the
3 months.
issues
Yeah, is that-
before us
no.
couldn't be
It's
more
over.
serious. There's the issue of
They're gonna-
choice,
they're gonna
and I will
confirm
always
it,
fight
so-
for a woman's right to make a decision about her own body. It should be her decision and not that of Donald Trump and and the Vice President, Michael Pence. But let's also look at what else is before the court. It's the Affordable Care Act.
Maybe the
Like,
government has too much
Literally
power.
in the midst of a public health pandemic,
Maybe.
when over 210,000 people have died and 7 million people probably have what will be in the future considered a pre-existing condition because you contracted the virus. Donald Trump is in court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable
Jesus
Care Act.
Christ.
And I said it before, and it bears repeating.
Yo.
This means
And where does Ruth sit
that there will
on
be
the
no more
spectrum?
protections if they win for
With the
people with
y'all.
pre-existing conditions.
Y'all.
This means
That's
that
definitely
over 20 million people will lose your
Republican thing to say, I
coverage.
think. You don't
It
see
means that
Democrats
if
saying
you're
y'all.
under the age of 26,
think?
There's
you
some
can't stay on
libertarian
your parents'
y'alls.
coverage
You think?
anymore.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
Yeah.
here's the thing.
You know, Southern
The contrast couldn't be more
Democrat
clear.
is a
They're
thing.
trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. Joe
Thank you.
Biden is saying, let's expand coverage. Let's give you a choice of a public option or private coverage.
Yeah, neither of them.
Let's bring down
Thank you,
premiums.
Senator
Let's
Harris.
lower Medicare
Neither of them really
eligibility to
answered the
60.
question.
Thank you,
but
Senator.
That's true
yeah, they
leadership.
both kind of
You know,
avoided it.
you mentioned
Politician
earlier,
move.
Vice President
got it,
Pence,
Sarah.
that the president was committed to maintaining protections for people with pre-existing conditions. But you do have this court case that you are supporting, your administration supporting, that would strike down the Affordable Care Act.
I think so,
The
Ruth.
president says,
No,
President
Ruth.
Trump says that
Just
he's going to
anyone that
protect
says
people
y'all.
with
Is that the
pre-existing
entire South?
conditions, but he has not
You
explained
never heard Southern
how
Democrat?
he
That's a
would
real
do
thing.
that.
They
And that
say
was one
a
of the
Southern
toughest nuts to
Democrat, they
crack
exist?
when they
Yeah.
were passing the Affordable
Really?
Care Act. So tell us
Sorry, Ruth.
specifically,
The
how
South
would your
was entirely
administration
Democrat until
protect
recently.
Americans with pre-existing conditions to have
Yeah, and
access
then
to
the party
affordable
switched,
insurance
right?
if the Affordable Care Act
Sort of.
is struck down?
Well, thank you, Susan. But let me just say, addressing your very first question, I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it.
My faith.
And this is another one of those cases where there's such a dramatic contrast. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. Late-term abortion. They want to increase funding to Planned Parenthood of America. Now, for our part, I would never presume how Judge Amy
What do you-
Coney Barrett would rule on the Supreme Court
Don't like it.
of the
Don't
United
like it.
States,
Okay.
but we'll continue to stand strong for the right to life. When you speak about the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed?
Good
I
question.
mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the Supreme Court during
Answer that.
presidential election years, from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court,
It's a drink,
which has
Ruth. I'll
had
drink to
9
it.
seats for 150
What are you drinking, Ruth?
years.
She's
if
probably
you don't
drinking
get your way.
scotch.
This is a classic case
That
of if
should
you
be the
can't win by
only
the
one.
rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. So I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed to the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme
Answer
Court to
that.
get your way?
Answer
We
that.
want an answer.
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more.
Yes, we're going to have 13
In
justices.
1864.
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
Mr.
Just
Vice
answer the
President, I'm
question.
speaking. I'm speaking.
1814.
In
Good
Ruth's
1864.
drinking mezcal.
One of the, I think, political heroes, certainly of the
Yeah.
president, I assume if you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln.
Mhm.
Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election,
Republican.
and it was 27 days before the election. And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said,
Honestly,
it's not the right thing to do. The American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States.
Ruth.
And then that person can
Take
select
another
who
drink,
will
Ruth.
serve for a lifetime on the highest court of our land.
Thanks for censoring
And so
yourself.
Joe and I are very clear. The American people are voting right now, and it should be their decision about who will serve on this
Answer
most
the
important
question,
body.
Kamala.
Didn't even
Jesus
come
close.
Christ.
Are you going to pack the
Thank
fucking
you.
court or not?
Senator Harris.
She
Susan,
did-
are voting right now.
Are you gonna
They'd
pack
like
the
to know
court?
if you and Joe Biden are gonna
Holy
pack
shit.
the Supreme
Thanks,
Court
Mike.
if you don't get your way in this
Hey, Mikey, I
nomination.
think he likes it.
Answer.
Talk about
You
packing.
once
Come on,
again
you're
gave a non-answer.
She won't
Joe
answer.
Biden gave a non-answer.
trying to answer you
The American
now.
people deserve
You
a
didn't
straight
try to
answer.
answer. You
If
never
haven't figured
said
it out
whether or
yet,
not you're
the
going to
straight
pack the
answer
fucking
is they
court.
are going
At
to
least they
pack
know
the
and
Supreme
lie.
Court.
So
You're going to pack
to
the court or you're
somehow
not
win
going
this
to pack the
election.
court.
Men and
Mr.
women,
Vice
I
President.
Yes or
gotta
no?
tell you, people across this country, if you cherish our Supreme Court, if you cherish the separation of powers, you need to reject the Biden-Harris ticket. Come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump, and we'll
Don't
stand
do
by
the
that separation
thumbnail.
of powers in a 9-seat Supreme Court.
Yeah, let's talk about packing the court then.
Okay.
Let's
Yes,
talk about
let-
that. Yeah,
please,
I'm about
go.
to.
Go. Go.
So-
We're ready.
The Trump-Pence administration
Uh-huh.
has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary.
Is she still not
Committee,
answering?
That's nice.
And
That's
I've
good.
witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal.
They're getting a
People
lot
who
through.
are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been
Yes,
not
it is,
competent,
Ruth.
are
You got to look her
substandard.
history up.
And do you know
It's gross.
that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black?
Senate might change.
This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing a court? Let's
So
have that
since one
discussion.
isn't black,
All right, thank you. Thank
Trump
you,
and
Senator.
Pence
Let's go on
are
and talk
doing
about
what?
the issue of
so she
racial
never answered
justice.
if they're going to
the
pack the
record
court.
reflects
Are
she
you gonna
never
pack the
answered the
court?
question.
She never
Thank
answered.
you.
Thank
Maybe
you.
the next debate, Joe Biden will answer the question.
Thank you.
But I think
She
the American
had, she
people need to
never
know.
Thank you,
answered.
Vice
She didn't even
Can we
try.
talk about whether or not we're going to pack
In
the
March,
court?
Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old emergency room technician
I'll
in
stop.
Louisville,
Wait.
was shot and killed after
We all
police
have
officers
questions,
executing
Marla.
a search warrant in a narcotics investigation broke into her apartment.
FDR
The
packed
police
the court.
said they identified
Just
themselves.
say yes or no.
Taylor's boyfriend
Fucking answer
said
the
he didn't
question.
hear them do that. He used a gun registered to
did
him
pack
to
the
fire a
court.
shot, which wounded an officer. The officers then
not
fired more than
against it.
20 rounds into the
I'm against
apartment.
it.
They say they were
Do what you gotta
acting
do.
in
If
self-defense.
you want it, you can do what you got to
None
do.
of them have been indicted in
Just answer the
connection with her death.
Jesus
Senator
Christ,
Harris,
Jesse.
in the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes.
I don't believe so. And I've talked with Breonna's mother, Tamika Palmer, and her family.
Right, Gina.
And her family deserves justice. She was a beautiful young woman. She had as her life goal to become a nurse, and she wanted to become an EMT to first learn what's going on out on the street so she could then
Like Kyle
become a
Rittinghouse.
nurse and save lives.
Careful.
And her life was taken
It's an EMT.
unjustifiably
Was
and
it really?
tragically and
Yeah, I
violently.
I didn't know that.
That's why he was
And
there.
it just, it brings me
I didn't know
to,
that.
you know, the 8 minutes and 46 seconds
It
that
doesn't
America
fit the left
witnessed,
agenda.
Does
during
not.
which an American man was tortured
You want some
and
more of this
killed
wine, dog?
under the knee
Down.
of an
You're gonna drink out of
armed,
the bottle like a man.
uniformed police officer.
No.
Oh,
And people around our country of every race, of every age, of every gender, perfect strangers to each other, marched shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, fighting for us to finally achieve that ideal of equal justice under law. And I was a part of those peaceful protests. And I believe strongly that, first of all, we are never going to condone violence, but we always must fight for the values that we hold dear, including the fight to
Gotta
achieve our
answer.
ideals. And that's why Joe Biden and I have said on this subject, look, and I'm a former career prosecutor. I know what
yeah,
I'm talking
not
about.
a good one.
Bad cops are bad for good cops. We need reform
Come on.
of our policing in America and our criminal justice system, which is why Joe and I will immediately ban chokeholds and carotid holds. George Floyd would be alive today if we did that. We will require a national registry for police officers who break the law. We will, on the issue of criminal justice reform, get rid of private prisons and cash bail, and
Thank
we
you.
will decriminalize marijuana, and
Thank
we
you,
will
Senator Harris.
we will expunge the records of those who have
Thank you,
been
Senator
convicted
Harris.
of marijuana. This is
Thank
the
you,
time
Senator
for
Harris.
leadership on a tragic
Should.
issue
Senator Harris,
of
your time
unarmed
is
black
up.
Sounds like
people in
bullshit to
America
me.
who have
Thank you,
been
Senator
killed.
Harris. Vice President Pence, let me pose the same question to you. In the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes
Jesus Christ.
uninterrupted.
Well, our heart breaks for the loss of any innocent American life. And the family of Breonna Taylor has our sympathies.
World's tiniest violin.
But I trust our justice system.
I mean, that was
a
fun.
grand jury that
Big
refused the
time.
evidence.
Yeah,
But like,
it
do you
was
think
fucked.
he
And
really
it
has
really is
sympathy, or
remarkable
he's
that as a
just
former
bullshitting?
prosecutor,
I don't know.
you would assume that an impaneled grand
Doesn't
jury
care.
looking at all the evidence got it wrong. But you're entitled to your opinion, Senator. I think, look, and with regard to George Floyd, there's no excuse for what happened to George Floyd. Justice will be served.
There you go, Mike's.
But there's also no
That's what people wanna
excuse
hear,
for the
Mike.
rioting and looting that followed.
There you go, Mike.
I mean, it really is
No
astonishing.
excuse.
Flora Westbrook is with us here tonight in Salt Lake City. Just a few weeks ago, I stood at what used to be her salon. Was burned to the ground by rioters and looters. And Flora is still trying to put her life back together. And I must tell you, this presumption that you hear consistently from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that America is systemically racist. And that, as Joe Biden said, that he believes that law enforcement has an implicit bias against minorities, is a great insult to the men and women who serve in law enforcement. And I want everyone
you
to
think,
know
Phil?
who puts on the uniform of law enforcement every day, that President Trump and I stand with you. And it is remarkable that when Senator Tim Scott tried to pass a police reform bill, brought together a group of Republicans and Democrats, Senator Harris, you got up and walked out of the room. And then you filibustered Senator Tim Scott's bill on the Senate floor that would have provided new accountability, new resources. But we don't have to choose between supporting law enforcement, improving public safety, and supporting our African American
Thank you, Vice
neighbors and
President.
all of our minorities. Under President Trump's leadership,
Thank you,
we'll
Vice President.
always stand with law enforcement, and we'll do what we've done
Vice
from
President
day one,
Pence,
and
thank
that is
you. Your time
improve
is
the
up.
lives of African Americans,
Thank you, Vice
record
President.
unemployment,
Sounds like they're both
record
wrong.
Vice
investments in
President Pence, your time
education,
is
and we'll
up.
fight for school
I know
choice
Brianna
for all
Taylor's
of our
fucked
Thank you,
members.
Vice
in
President.
general, but
Senator
That
Harris.
whole situation.
I will
sucks.
not sit
Yeah,
here and be
it should never
lectured by the
happen.
Vice President
If
on
somebody
what it
busted
means
through my
to
door,
enforce the laws
I'm gonna
of our
shoot
country.
them.
I am the only
shooting
one on this
I mean,
stage
it's gonna happen.
who was personally prosecuted. Everything from child sexual assault to homicide. I'm the only one on this stage who has prosecuted the big banks for taking advantage of America's homeowners. I'm the only one on this stage
Here we go.
who
Come on.
prosecuted for-profit colleges for taking advantage of our veterans.
proctologists.
And the reality of this
Yeah,
is
what is on
that
Pence's head?
we are talking about an
The
election in
fly on
27
Mike's head.
days.
It is a
Where
fucking
last
fly.
week, the President of the United States took
Drink
a
if there's a
debate
fly
stage
on
in
Mike
front of
Pence's
7
head.
million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Be the
This is
next
the
one.
moment of the
And
night.
It wasn't like
You
he
know
didn't
this
have
shit's
a
gonna be on
chance.
SNL.
He didn't do it, and then he ducked it out. And then he said, when pressed,
Someone's gonna stay
stand back. Stand
Somebody's
by.
got to tell him.
Nobody knows what.
This
Come
is
on,
a
Mike.
part of the pattern
Just shake it off.
of
Shake
Donald
it off.
Trump's.
Woo-hoo.
He called Mexicans rapists and criminals.
Mexican. Who
He
gives a shit?
instituted
We all
as his
heard that
first
4
act
years
a
ago.
Muslim ban
Mike Pence
on
has
the
a
issue of
fly in his head,
Charlottesville,
and it's still
where
there.
people
Oh,
were
It's gone.
It's gone.
We're good.
protesting
Jesus Christ.
the need for racial justice,
call,
where
Gina.
a young woman was killed. And on the other side, there were neo-Nazis carrying tiki torches, shouting racial epithets, anti-Semitic slurs.
Antifa.
And Donald Trump, when asked about it, said there were fine people on both sides. This is who we have as the president of the
That's
United
right.
States. And America,
Susan.
you deserve better. Joe Biden will be a president who brings our country together
Senator Harris.
and,
thank you.
and recognizes the beauty in our diversity and the fact that we
Senator
all
Harris,
have
thank
so
you.
much more in common than
Go
what
to Tom,
separates
Phil.
They
us.
changed from
Vice
this
President Pence,
to
let me
this.
give you a minute to respond.
Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that very much. You know, I think this is one of the things that makes people dislike the media so much in this country, Susan, is that you selectively edit, just like Senator Harris did, comments that President Trump
Just
and I
talking
and
to a lady
others
that works for
on our
the
side of the
media.
aisle make. I mean, Senator Harris conveniently omitted, after the president made comments about people on either side of the debate over monuments, he condemned the KKK, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists, and has done so repeatedly. You're concerned that he doesn't condemn neo-Nazis. President Trump has Jewish grandchildren. His daughter and son-in-law are Jewish. This is a president who respects and cherishes all of the American people.
Can't
But you talk
disagree
about
with you
having
more,
personally
Jay.
prosecuted. I'm glad you brought up your record, Senator.
Thank you.
But I really need to make this point. When you were DA in San Francisco,
Here we
when you
go.
left office, African Americans were 19 times more likely to be prosecuted for minor drug offenses than whites
Oh,
and Hispanics.
shit.
When you were Attorney
Thank you.
General of California,
Thank you,
you
Vice President.
increased the disproportionate incarceration of
Thank you.
blacks in California. You did nothing on criminal justice reform in California.
True.
You didn't lift a
That's-
finger
Thank
to
you.
pass the First Step Back on Capitol Hill. I mean,
Wow.
the reality is your
He
record
just
speaks
slayed
for
her.
itself.
President
President
Pence.
Trump and I have fought for criminal justice reform.
Thank you, Vice
We
President
fought for
Pence.
educational choice and opportunities for African Americans, all of our
Thank you,
minorities.
sir.
Let's
And
put
we'll
it
do
out
it
there.
for
My
full.
Thank
future
you.
wife,
You know,
Tulsi
there's no
Gabbard,
more
destroyed her,
important
though.
issue
That's
than the final issue
that's one
that we're
that
going
got
to
her.
talk about tonight, and
I'm
that is
down
the
with
issue
Tulsi.
of the election
But
itself.
Susan, he attacked my record. I would like an opportunity to respond.
Let me give you 30 seconds because we're running out of
I
time.
appreciate that.
Sorry, Jay,
First
I
of
like you,
all,
but I don't
Having
agree there.
served as the Attorney General of the state of California, the work that I did is a model of what our nation needs to do, and we will be able to do under a Joe Biden presidency. Our agenda includes what this administration has failed to do. It will be about not only instituting a ban on chokeholds and carotid holes,
Thank you.
not only,
Thank you, Senator.
I would
Harris.
like to go through,
These are points that you made earlier in the hour, and I want to talk about the election itself before we have to.
but
Ruth's
I want
feeling
to
it.
talk about the
Ruth, drink
connection
some more
between
mezcal,
what Joe
buddy.
and I will do and my record,
Bring some down.
which includes, I was the
Why
first
aren't you here right now, Ruth?
statewide officer
on,
to
Ruth.
institute a requirement that my agents would wear body cameras and keep them on full time. We
Yeah.
were the first to initiate a requirement that there would be a training for law enforcement on implicit
Someone
bias
sneeze in
because
the
yes, Joe
background.
Biden and I recognize that implicit bias does exist, Mr. Vice President, contrary to what you may believe. We did the work of instituting reforms that were about investing in reentry. This is the work that we have done and the work we will do going forward. And again, I will not be lectured by the Vice President
Again, calm it down.
on our record
He's with the sneezing.
of what we have done in terms of law enforcement and
couch is
keeping our
nicer than
communities
us.
safe and a commitment to reforming the criminal justice system of America.
Look what
Thank
Ruth
you,
said about
Senator
us.
Harris. And I'd like to pose I'd like you to respond first to the question on our final topic, the
So
election
that's why she
itself.
wasn't here.
President Trump has several times refused to commit
Sorry,
himself
Ruth.
to a peaceful
I thought
transfer
we
of
were
power
nicer.
after the election.
Wow.
If your ticket wins and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of
Is someone
power,
gonna kick this
what
lady out?
steps would you and
This
Vice
lady's
President Biden
sneezing.
then take? What would happen?
Jesus, shut the
You have
fuck
2
up.
minutes.
She's gonna sneeze a fourth time.
So I'll tell
Will
you.
you shut up, man?
Joe and I are
Double or nothing. She
particularly,
sneezes the fourth time.
proud of the coalition that we've built around our campaign. We probably have one of the broadest coalitions of votes that you've ever seen in a presidential race. Of course, we have the support of Democrats, but also independents and Republicans.
What is
In fact,
going on?
That's for
7
sure.
members of President George W. Bush's cabinet.
Sorry,
supporting
our
our
chairs
ticket.
aren't good enough for you, Ruth.
We have the support of Colin Powell, Cindy McCain, John Kasich, over
I wish the
500
camera had cut to the woman sneezing.
generals, retired generals, and former national security
If it was a me
experts and
vote, it would.
advisors are supporting our campaign. And I believe they are doing that because they know that Joe Biden has a deep, deep-seated plan to fight for our democracy.
Everybody drink it
And to
the
fight
next
for the
time there's a
integrity
sneeze.
of our democracy.
Kamala
and to
stops her.
bring
I'm like, what
integrity
the
back
fuck
to
is
the White
that?
House. And so we believe in the
Go
American people. We believe in our democracy. And here's what I'd like to say to everybody. Vote. Please vote. Vote early. Come up with a plan to
Vote
vote. Go to
often.
iwillvote.com. You can also go to
Vote right now.
joebiden.com.
Right now at 10
We
p.m.
have it within our power in these next
John.
27 days to make the decision about what will be the course of our country for the next 4 years. And it is within
My
our
hand.
power. And if we use our vote
It's a
and we use
pincer
our
instead of the
voice,
thumb now.
we will win. And we will not let anyone subvert our democracy with what Donald Trump has been doing, as he did on the debate stage last week, when again in front of 70 million people, he openly
What do you do?
attempted to suppress the vote. Joe Biden, on the other hand, on that same debate stage, because clearly Donald Trump doesn't think he can run on a record because it's a failed record, Joe Biden on that stage said, hey, just please vote. So I'll repeat what Joe said. Please vote.
Thank you, Senator. Vice President Pence, President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a
Vote before you
peaceful
change your
transfer of
mind.
power after the election. If Vice President Biden is declared the
wouldn't
winner
it
and
be
President
peaceful?
Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power,
What's
what would be
Trump
your
gonna
role
do?
and responsibility
The
as Vice
dumbest
President? What
fucking
would
question
you
I've ever heard.
personally do?
What
You
the
have
fuck's
2
he gonna
minutes.
do? Sick fucking his
Well, Susan,
wife?
first and foremost, I think we're going
His
to win
wife
this
on
election.
him?
He's gonna
Because
camp
while,
out in the
Joe Biden and
Lincoln
Kamala
bedroom.
Harris rattle off a long litany of the establishment in
What's he gonna
Washington,
do?
D.C., an establishment that
Uh,
Joe Biden's been a part of for 47
Stick listening
years.
devices in the Oval Office
President
so he
Donald
can hear
Trump
what the next presidency
He's
is
launched a
doing?
movement
Do
of
you
everyday
think that he would
Americans from every walk of life.
possibly bug
And I have
the
every
incumbent?
confidence that those same
I mean,
Americans that delivered that
Jeez, can you
historic
imagine
victory in
somebody doing
2016
that? Who would do
President
that?
will
elect?
see this
Who
president's
the
record
hell would
where we
bug
rebuild
the
our
president
military.
elect?
We
Who would do
revived
that?
our economy
Good
through
God.
tax cuts,
Some
and rolling
asshole.
back regulation, fighting for fair trade, unleashing
fucking
American
kidding me.
energy. We appointed
People
conservatives
just
to
skip
our
over
federal
that.
courts
Like
at every level.
Obama administration didn't
And
bug
we
the
stood
White
with
House
the men and women
when
of
they
law
left.
enforcement every
Right.
single day. And I think
Did you
I think that
see
movement of Americans has only grown stronger in the last 4 years.
the Hillary Clinton
When you
papers?
talk about accepting the
No.
outcome of the election, I must tell you, Senator, your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election.
Seriously. And that's
It's
true.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's seriously
When Joe
true.
Biden was
I
vice
don't care what
president of
side
the
you're
United
on.
States,
Yeah.
the FBI actually spied on President Trump and my campaign. I mean,
They
there were
did?
documents
Like we were just
released this
talking
week that
about.
the CIA
Yep, here
actually
we
made
go.
a referral to the FBI documenting that
Sorry, Jay.
those allegations were coming from the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Vote
And of course,
Joe.
we've all seen an
Jorgensen.
avalanche,
Joe Jorgensen.
what you put
for
the
president.
country through for the
We
better
really
part
needed
of
Spike,
3
Jeremy
years
Spike Cohen in this
until it was
debate.
found that there was no obstruction, no collusion, case closed. And then
least
Senator
we were the
Harris,
only
you
ones
and your
talking over
colleagues
them.
in the Congress
A lot.
tried
Sorry,
to
guys.
impeach the president of the United
We called a
States
buzz.
over
Couldn't
a
keep it under
phone
control.
call. And now Hillary Clinton has actually said to Joe Biden that in her words, under
But
no
that's why they watch us.
circumstances should
They
he
wanna hear what
concede
we
the
have to
election.
say.
So let me just say, I think we're going to
I
win
hope
this
so.
election. President Trump and I are fighting every day in courthouses to prevent
Otherwise, we're doing this
Joe
wrong.
Biden and Kamala Harris from changing the rules and creating this universal mail-in
Changing
voting
the
that will create a
rules.
massive opportunity for voter
Everybody's going to
fraud.
mail in their votes.
We have a free and fair election. We know we're going to have confidence in it.
Imagine if our
And I believe in
voter
all my heart
like
that President
percentage
Donald Trump's
went
gonna
up
be
to like
reelected for 4 more
70%.
years.
You know,
Whoa.
Wonder why everybody
I've
voted
written
this
all
year.
the questions that I've
Right.
asked tonight, but for the final question of the debate,
Okay,
I'd like to
this is
read
important.
a
Everybody
question that
shut
someone
up.
else wrote. The Utah Debate Commission asked students in the state to write essays about what they would like to ask you. And I want to close tonight's debate with the question posed by Brecklin Brown. She's an 8th grader
The
at
guns.
Springville Junior High in Springville,
Nope.
Utah.
Sorry,
And here's
Gina.
what she wrote, quote, "When I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Democrats and Republicans. When
Yep.
I watch the news, all I see is citizen fighting against citizen. When I watch the news, all I see are 2 candidates from opposing parties trying to tear each other down. If our leaders can't get along, how are the citizens supposed to get along?" And then she added, "Your examples could make all the difference to bring us together," end quote. So to each of you in turn, I'd like you to take 1 minute and respond to Brecklin. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute.
Brecklin, it's a wonderful question. And let me just commend you for taking an interest in public life. I started following the news when I was very young. And in America, we believe in a free and open exchange of debate.
Ruth,
And we
that's
celebrate
fucked
that.
up.
And it's how we've created literally the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world. But
True.
I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on your local news networks is synonymous with the American people.
True.
You know, I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg,
Ruth
the
for president,
late
2024.
Justice who we just lost from the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They were on polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States, one very liberal, one very conservative. But what's been learned since her passing was the 2 of them and their families were the very closest of friends. I mean, here in America, we can disagree. We can debate vigorously, as Senator Harris and I have on this stage tonight. But when the debate is over, we come together as Americans. And that's what people do in big cities and small towns all across this country. So I just want to encourage you, Brecklin. I want to tell you that we're going to work every day to have government as good as our people. And the American people
Why do I
each
feel like
and every day.
Mike's always trying to
Love a
swoon
good
the
debate.
camera.
We love a good argument, but we always come together and
I don't like the way he
always
looks at
there
me,
for one
Like
another.
Biden.
Thank you.
In
Vice
times
Just
of
like
need. And
looking
we've
at me
especially learned that
deeply.
Thank you,
through
Mr.
the
Vice President.
difficulties of this year.
Senator Harris, what would you say to Brecklin?
First of all, I love hearing from our young leaders.
Ruth
And
Ruth
when
Summers,
I
my
hear
bartender,
her words,
my
when
best
I hear
friend.
your words, Brecklin, I know our future is bright because it is that perspective on who we are and who we should be that is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be. And that,
We love
that brings me
Ruth
to
Summers.
Joe.
Ruth
Joe
Summers
Biden,
is
one of the reasons that
I'm
Joe
gonna be your
decided to run
bridesmaid.
for president is
Maid of
after
honor.
Charlottesville, which we talked about earlier. It so
Jesus.
troubled him and upset him like it did all of us, that there was that kind of hate and division. What propelled Joe to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4 years, what Brecklin described has been happening. Joe has a long-standing reputation of working across the aisle, and working in a bipartisan way. And that's what he's going to do as president. Joe Biden has a history of lifting people up and fighting for their dignity. You have to know Joe's story to know that Joe has known pain, he has known suffering, and he has known love. And so, Brecklin, when you think about the future, I do believe the future is bright. And it will be because of your leadership, and it will be because we fight for each person's voice through their vote, and we get engaged in this election because you have the ability through your work and through eventually your vote
Thank you,
to
Senator
determine
Harris.
the future of our country and what its leadership looks like.
No, he is. Mike
Thank
Pence is
you,
a great speaker.
Senator Harris.
He
Thank
really
you,
is.
Vice
He
President
articulates
Pence. Thank
everything
you so
well.
much for being
Just
with
fun.
us tonight.
Yeah.
Just the way he
We
looks
want
at
to
the
thank
cameras.
also
It's a
the
little
University of
seductive.
Utah for its
He likes
hospitality.
himself.
And most of all,
But I
our
do the same
thanks to
thing on
all the
camera here.
Americans
So
who watched this debate.
watch on
tonight.
Sunday, you'll see.
Again, our best wishes for a quick recovery to President Trump, the First Lady, and
Jesus
everyone
Christ,
who is
Sean.
battling COVID-19. The second presidential
You
debate
can't show
is
it and
next
then say
week on
Jesus
October
Christ, Sean.
15th, a town hall style debate in Miami. We hope you'll join us then. Good evening.
You know, this lady held it together tonight. I think she kept them reeled in. I know it's a little better than it's a little easier than dealing with Trump and Biden, but she held it together.
Much easier.
Yeah, but still,
They came in knowing that they were going to try to make it civil. They couldn't have a repeat of the first presidential debate.
yeah. That was so out of these debates, I was actually able to take something from this one. Like besides Kamala Harris refused to answer, she's going to text. Never said just yes or no, and he pushed her 3 times on it.
Yeah.
Refused to give an answer.
She didn't give an answer.
It was wild, dude.
We don't disagree with you, Sean. We're just, Jesus Christ.
But Jesus Christ.
It's like it's kind of crazy.
What do you think? Are we done with C-SPAN?
What's this nonsense?
Kamala's got a husband?
You think is that her husband in that weird?
Is she married?
in that weird ass mask?
She
Is that
married?
his wife?
Yeah, that's Jill. Or not Jill. Jesus
Jill.
Christ. Sorry, what's her name? Joan. What's her name?
Joan Pence?
I think so. Or Janet.
Janet? I don't know.
Mike Pence's wife.
I'm assuming
Someone
she
with
has a
J.
name. She probably has a name.
I forget what
Who
it is.
wouldn't have a name?
I think it's Joan. Something with a J.
I don't know. We're gonna get.
Can we? Oh, did you ever find a way to hop on other play? Oh, it's Karen. It's not a J. It's one letter away.
I mean, I can check out. Who do you want to check out? CNN.
Yeah, CNN, Fox. Let's see what everyone
Let's
says.
see what CNN is doing.
All right, quick rundown. Okay, here's the problem. Here's the problem with Kamala Harris for me. I went to school, and all my degrees are in criminal justice psychology, forensics. I did it all because it was either going to be a lawyer, be a police investigator, something of the sort. Never did it. I ended up making liquor for a living. But
Weird.
so it is weird. Kamala Harris is evil. Is she not?
Uh,
Listen to what she did. Listen to what she did. She put innocent men in prison, innocent black men who supposedly she's supposed to be fighting for in prison, and refused to give them a chance to fight for their innocence with DNA evidence because it costs $25 to get a DNA test to prove you're innocent.
Yeah, it's pretty bullshitty.
And she said that if she let one person do it, everyone would want to do it. And my point is what if you're going to put a man in prison for life, don't they get a chance at DNA evidence?
You should let them get a chance. And
What
so
the
the
fuck is
problem
wrong
the
with
problem
her?
wasn't that, oh well, if I give you a piece of gum, I have to give everybody a piece of gum. It wasn't that.
But that's what she
The
said.
problem was it's not the $25 DNA test. It's that if they give them the DNA test, they have to give them a new trial, and that's a lot of money. I mean, you
Or
really
they
think
have to
about it.
acquit them.
Or they have to acquit them.
There's
yeah.
no, you don't get a
They-
trial. If you were convicted on DNA evidence, there's not another trial. You're instantly acquitted and you're out and you're done.
No, well, they'd still have to do. I mean,
There's no
they'd
trial.
still have to have at least a hearing.
Maybe like
that's
not
a
like
lot
where
of
you have to
money,
get
though.
people together, like a hearing of like your like same thing as a probation or
Like
parole
12
hearing.
people be like, oh no, actually, you know what? If there wasn't for
As
the
soon
DNA
as
evidence-
soon as you were convicted on DNA evidence, it's thrown out. You're out of jail. There's no hearing. It's
I
not
mean, I
another
think if
trial.
we,
What she did is fucked up.
you want to see what CNN has to say,
Sure, let's
All
get
right.
her comments up.
we're gonna see if we
then
can hear
just completely
that.
disregards the question and
And,
answers the way that
that's
he
loud.
thinks
Yep.
is
Yeah.
best. But in the context of this debate,
You gotta
it
turn
really did
turn it
create
down
this
for everyone,
imbalance
too, I'm
between
sure.
the two of them. And I do think that
I'd
Harris
turn
missed
it
some
down on
opportunities
CNN.
here
They're
to-
leveling
to
it.
push back at opportunities when Pence took them, even when it wasn't his turn, and then he was given time to go over by 30 seconds here, 45
Hopefully,
seconds
folks can
there.
hear this.
I mean, these are technicalities, but in the moment, what it means is that
You got to
you
mute it.
felt like you got
on
more
the-
talking
Yeah.
time from
There.
Pence.
And
I
as
think
interviewers,
we're already-
all
we're already
three of
muted
us,
there.
it was definitely frustrating to hear the question and then not hear a follow-up when both of them, but much
And it
more,
was
Mike Pence
confusing.
didn't answer the question
was
at all.
confusing
Went
to me.
I don't
completely
like
in a
Karens.
different direction.
And so something also that I think we can't ignore is the concept of gender.
What?
And we're
What?
so used to seeing
Did this come up?
white men,
Mhm.
but definitely men, on the stage when
I
it
don't
comes
really
to being
remember
on a
that
ticket.
being a part of this
Senator Harris is
whole
only the third woman
story.
to be on a ticket. The first one was in 1984 with Geraldine Ferraro. And we had to wait till,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, she's the fourth. And then 2008, Sarah Palin, 2016, Hillary Clinton. And I wonder if a woman candidate feels like she can't push as much or
Well-
steamroll as much as, say, Mike Pence can.
Why?
For fear of seeming
Mhm.
and offending some segment of the electorate. I'm not saying it should be that way, but I'm wondering if it is that way.
Well, I'll tell you this, and Abby, I want to get your thoughts on this. I was texting with a friend who is an African-American man
Here we go.
saying, do you think that she's kind of letting some things go in a way that maybe she shouldn't? And the answer was, are you kidding me? You know that she's a Black woman. She has to kind of pull her punches on that. And I'm not
What?
sure if that's true. I mean, she was tough, and she certainly had her moments. But there were times
CNN
when
drives me
maybe
nuts.
there could have been more follow-up. And I don't know if that's something that was going through her head or not. I hope it wasn't.
You know, this is something that I'm sure,
You
you know, for every woman in politics, and particularly Black
Here we
women,
go.
there is this.
Do you think
line
they
that
got a
you have
black
to
woman
thread.
specifically
You know,
for
I was also
Kamala
texting
Harris?
with
You know they
people
did.
close to her, you know, who looked at this and kind of felt like Pence was taking advantage of the rules, of the
Okay.
fact that he was able to just flout them, and perhaps she should have pushed back in
What,
certain
you want to
ways.
move on
I
already?
think that's
Yeah.
where
What do you
debate
wanna move
prep
on
comes
to?
in.
Let's just see
There
what
are
Fox
ways
says.
to do it in ways that don't sort of
So
present in a certain way,
CNN's
but
take is that
this is a line that
Mike Pence bullied Kamala Harris on stage because she's a Black woman, so she doesn't feel like, so she has to hold punches, is what CNN thinks. That was a quick take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I've never heard of something so stupid in my life. So,
Hmm.
as a vice president, if you're Black, you have to pull punches because
Have to.
we don't know why. Did Obama pull punches?
A bomber.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't get where this is coming from. So, come on, seriously.
All right. We are going to be
Did Ben
bringing
Carson
in-
pull punches? Did Tulsi Gabbard pull punches? And they
I
went
don't know.
hard on people.
Saying essentially,
with their ticket, you're going to get a Green New Deal
Let's
and a
see.
Paris Accord, and you're going to kill jobs.
They're gonna put Wallace on here,
How
really?
do you think that was, and how good do you? How
Can
well
you
do think she
imagine?
responded
Chris
to
Wallace is
that
on here, dude.
attack?
He's right there.
I know it's
Well, you know,
crazy, isn't
Mike
it?
Pence looked like
All
he
right,
was
let's
back
see
in
what we
the
got
old
here.
days saying, yes, President Trump, you've done
All
such a
right.
wonderful job. Yes, Mr.
Hey, look, we
President,
shared.
you're doing such a terrific job.
I'll be right back.
You know what? I thought she rocked it. She was graceful. She showed strength when she had to show strength. She did not interrupt him, but she reminded him that she had the clock.
Either did I, Sean. I don't know where it came that she was a black woman and she had to pull punches. That I don't know. I guess I missed it. I guess it's above my head.
With pre-existing conditions, so I believe she did a good job. Yes, it was boring, but boring in the sense that this was not about.
This lady's on
fireworks.
Fox
It was
News
about
sticking up for
substance, and I
Kamala
think she
Harris.
was
This
able
is
to bring
interesting.
home the
Okay.
substance. So HU, you know, she did good.
Carl,
Okay.
part of tonight's challenge for Kamala Harris was to introduce herself to the American public and possibly convince them that she could be.
Oh, I think it died on us. Oh no, we're dead. Well, guys, if you're still with me, we froze out again. So, yeah, unfortunately, here it's not looking good. It's frozen. Frozen. Oh fuck. That's not good. Anyways, I don't know if we're live or not still. On the phone I go. Yeah, we're still here. Okay, cool. Phil's gone. Yeah, that was interesting. I'm watching on the phone for anyone that's saying anything. Yeah, that was this was a pretty good debate. At least you got to pull something from this. Really, it was interesting. I just don't understand Kamala Harris and dude, she really avoided that question if they're going to pack the Senate. So. Right, Sean. She was running for president. She already was introduced. I agree. Yeah. Phil leaves and the laptop stops working. Don't you love that? Dead in the water. What do you think, Sean? Sean, what'd you take from that? What did you take from the debate? Really? Do you think Pence? Won that, or at least? I mean, I thought he looked good. He's really good at speaking. His public speaking's on point. So I know, Phil. What a pain in the ass. Yep, dead. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this computer. Come on, Phil. All right, what'd you say, Sarah? I thought he looked good. Don't feel like them really answered the question. So is that really a winner? Yeah, that's true. They avoided it pretty much. I don't know. It's hard for me not to be biased on this one. Like I said, I can't get behind, Kamala and what she stands for. She's just kind of bad. Hey, Phil, we're dead. Fox News is dead, and the laptop is frozen. So
Frozen?
yeah,
Shit.
yeah, not good.
Sorry, folks. Well, while we get this, did you try?
No, I didn't know what to screw with, so I didn't want to touch anything.
Okay.
And make it worse.
Well, I guess I gotta. We'll be right back.
Sarah and Sean are
frustrating.
I know, right when you left.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, folks. We're back. So what do you think were the okay? What are we talking about?
I was just asking everyone who they thought won the debate, who really pushed their agenda, who did the right thing.
What did we think?
So Sarah said no one answered a question, so did anyone win? And then Sean had a big answer, but he said everyone would be asleep by the time he finished writing it. So
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So what's the deal with the distillery?
yeah, done.
12-6.
We did it. I answered the question.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Any other times? Is it every day or is it just Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
That's all right, man. Well, we're not going anywhere, Sean. We'll be there, buddy. So whenever you get a chance.
So my question is, so for this debate, I looked at it and I said, the thing that I really wanted to see answered out of all this was not even one of the moderators' questions. The question I wanted to see answered that didn't get answered was, are you going to pack the courts?
Is that really what you wanted to see?
Yeah.
That was the one thing you wanted out of this?
Yep.
See, I wanted to see other things, but yeah.
She wouldn't answer.
No. You want to talk about a void? Wow. 3 times she had a chance to answer. And she goes, I'm answering the question, Vice President. And she never.
She didn't answer.
She never
said.
I don't know what it was.
She never said whether or not they were planning on packing the courts, and so I'm taking that as a yes.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
And that's really disturbing to me because that's, I don't know. I think, despite the fact that I don't really line up with any of the judges on either side, I do think that the ones that are more toward the conservative side are the ones who more often line up with what's just in the Constitution. And there's sometimes when I agree more with the left side of the courts, but for the most part, I kind of worry about what's going to happen with, I mean, if we get, and I think this is moot as far as the election goes, because unless they do pack the courts, which would require them to have a majority in the Senate as well.
Right.
I think it'll be okay, but I don't know. It makes me nervous.
So explain to me how they can pack the court. So all the newly appointed people can be unappointed and they can put whoever they want in there?
No.
So when positions come up?
No. What they can do. So what happened, if anybody wants to look up and see how many positions were added under Franklin Delano Roosevelt, but what they can do is actually just say, okay, well, instead of there's nothing in the Constitution saying how many justices are on the Supreme Court, right? 9 isn't the set number, right?
Right.
So they could have 14, or well, they usually go for an odd number, so they could have 13.
Isn't that usually what it is?
Right now it's 9.
What is it usually?
It has been 13. I think FDR brought it to 13.
Okay. What's the max? Can it max?
No, they can make whatever. They could make it 51 if they wanted to.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. So they could make it 51 if they wanted to, and that's like, okay, well, I nominated. And they also, they can change. It doesn't have to. It's not in the Constitution that's a lifetime appointment either.
Did Trump pack the court? Could you say?
No. Trump filled empty spots.
He got Kavanaugh.
So packing the court refers specifically to adding positions to the court to make it so that it goes with your ideology.
Right. Okay.
So that has been done in the past, but under Trump, he had 3 vacancies, which is in the process of filling.
Yeah.
That's not considered packing the court. Packing the court is when he adds slots.
Right. Okay.
And
Yeah,
then,
I feel you.
And then fill them
Interesting.
with people you agree with. You're like, okay, well, there's going to be 6 conservative justices. So we're going to make sure that there's 13 justices, and we're going to make it so that 7 of them are liberal.
Right.
Like that would be packing. Right.
Okay. Makes sense. So you're thinking they're going to add like 5 more Senate seats to take majority.
I think they would like to do that.
Because how many Democrat seats are up? Or justice seats, sorry, not Senate seats. To pack the court. How many people on the court are Republican? How many of them are Democrat?
Well, so it's supposed to be nonpartisan, right? But what we know is that,
Right.
and the thing is that really, in a lot of ways, it is nonpartisan more than you think it is. In as much as we've got justices who are appointed by Republicans.
It's been 9 since 1869.
And justices who were appointed by Democrats. And for the ones that were appointed by Republicans, we assume that they're a little bit more to the right, and the ones, appointed by Democrats, more to the left. But, you look at John Roberts, the Chief Justice, was appointed by George W. Bush. And on, some issues where we would think that they would vote toward the issue that the Republicans sided with, he went the other way, like the Affordable Care Act, and he's turned down a lot of gun control issues that we would think that a conservative justice would actually take on, because
Right.
they could then make it so that we had stricter regulation of gun control.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
So,
Yeah. I guess the winner tonight, like my mom said, was The Fly.
The Fly, yes.
Yeah, The Fly won.
The
tonight.
Fly on Mike Pence's head. What the hell was the deal
What
with
about
that?
the lady sneezing?
Oh, it might have been a tie.
That lady sneezing.
The lady-
hilarious. She would stop both of them in their mid sentence.
you think-
Okay,
Okay, so, all right. For Sarah and Sean.
Sean
since
kept
you're
saying
the
he was
only
yelling
ones still
COVID
watching,
every time she sneezed.
since you two are the only ones still watching, here's a question for you two. Which of the things that are going to show up on Saturday Night Live, is The Fly going to show up? Is the lady sneezing going to show up?
Why did no one tell her to shut? Like, dude, sneeze quiet, bro. Like, come on, seriously. Why are you fucking
It's like-
sneezing?
It's like, could you have to do the Dracula thing where you put the sneeze in your elbow, and then people won't be able to hear you that much.
Dude, that shit is hilarious. I wonder if maybe
I guarantee that both of those things end up on SNL.
maybe if you're not on headphones, you couldn't hear it as well, though.
I don't know. Did everybody hear the lady sneezing? Sarah heard it.
Sarah heard it. I don't know if Sarah was
If-
on headphones or not. So.
I don't know. But if the lady sneezing doesn't end up on SNL,
Dude,
they're not doing it right.
that Fly was fucking killer. Like, why did no
Oh
one
my
help
God.
Mike out, dude?
Like, how long did it sit there? And he's just like, oh, well, you know. You know what I think about it is, you should tell us if you're going to pack the court or not. It's bullshit.
Oh god.
Number one, The Fly, because now it's very left leaning.
Are they left leaning?
There has to be somebody sneeze. Oh my god, are you?
Yeah, I
shitting
don't
me?
watch. I don't watch it. I've
I
never watched it.
watched. They did the cold open. They did the first presidential debate for the cold open, and they hammered Trump. They were like, you know what? Biden came out at the end. He's like, I really believe in karma, and I believe in science. And if both of those things could just come together later this week.
Oh god.
It was fucking Trump got the COVID. How do you think Trump's doing?
He's good.
He's fine.
He's got the best medical care in the world,
I
dude.
know he's on everybody's like,
He's-
oh, he's got roid
dude,
rage.
He's got the
Like,
vaccine.
The steroids
He's
that
got the
he's taking
fucking-
is not the steroids that you're thinking.
You
about,
don't
by
think
the
he's
way.
been stabbed with the vaccine by now? He's been.
You think
he's
he's
got the vaccine.
You
It's
don't
done.
really usually give the vaccine after you catch something.
Yeah,
That's not how vaccines work.
But
That's not the point of vaccines.
well, okay, not the vaccine. I'm sorry. There's a cure or something to fight it.
Well,
they
they
got something.
shot him up with antibodies.
Yeah, I mean he's good. Whatever they need, not the vaccine. I'm wrong. Sorry. I'm sure they got some sort of something, some sort of an antibiotic, something that'll take care of it. So, yeah.
I miss you, Sarah.
Would you take the vaccine?
I don't know.
Sarah and Sean, would you guys take the vaccine?
Sarah, you down with a vaccine?
Would you guys take? I don't think I'd take it. I don't take the fucking flu vaccine.
You know what? Sometimes I do.
I mean, Sean did
Sometimes I
some
don't.
crazy shit. I'm sure he's not worried about no fucking virus. So
Sean's probably got vaccinated for everything. Sean's probably vaccinated for
no, he goes,
typhoid
and
Ebola.
No.
and polio and any other shit that you can get in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I'm sure he's been stabbed with a shit ton of needles. No. I work in healthcare. Yeah, that's true. You guys will probably be stuck taking one if they get
They're
a
gonna,
vaccine.
they're gonna
Yeah.
make me take that shit.
I mean, I'm not one of those fucking vaccine haters or anything.
I'm waiting for
I'm
him-
just not gonna take it. I don't.
I-
What a fucking waste of time.
I'm just waiting for him to
So-
force me to get tested.
Yeah. For anthrax, Jesus Christ, dude.
Anthrax
There's a-
5 times.
There's a
Jesus
vaccine for
Christ.
anthrax.
How many times does it take to be effective? I mean, what is it, like once a year? Jesus
Holy
Christ.
shit, Sean! I didn't even know you could be vaccinated for that. Dude, that was a
Yeah,
fucking
you have
thing.
to be special to get vaccinated for it, though.
Yeah. Well, fuck. I didn't open letters for a little bit there. Not shitting you, dude.
Just
That
shake
shit-
it up.
That shit
You're
was
like,
sketchy as shit, dude.
I don't know. It sounds kind of
That shit was fucking sketchy, dude. And
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to make a joke of it. Like, fuck that. That
that
shit was no
was-
joke.
They sent some. I mean, they sent it all. They sent it at the White House, didn't they?
Just sent it fucking everywhere. People died from it, dude.
Only like 7 people though.
Yeah, but still, I mean, can you imagine being that poor son of a bitch that died from opening a fucking letter?
Like, I opened this letter and it had powder in it. This is weird.
Oh, so you got the anthrax shot and then a bunch of boosters after?
Boosters. So like, how often? What is it like? You get boosted once a year. You get one-time vaccine, a bunch of boosters.
You fucking open up a letter from your goddamn car dealership and you get
Hey,
smoked.
gotta get
by
a booster.
anthrax. I mean, fuck.
From your what? From your car dealership?
Or like your car, like your car loan. You know, you're like, oh, here's
Oh.
Ford. They want to get paid, and bam, yeah, it's anthrax. It's not Ford.
Yeah, you don't want that.
No.
What do y'all think about like a 1987 GMC?
Here we go. Here we go.
I gotta get a pickup truck.
Sarah lives in the Midwest. She loves pickup trucks. I bet.
I think she would deal with a pickup truck.
Yeah, I'm sure. If you live in the Midwest and you don't drive an old pickup,
Yeah, it's
do
a
you
good
live
point,
in the
Sean.
Midwest?
I guess I'm not sure if I'm technical. I guess they said asthma is not actually a risk factor for COVID. So, to be honest, I put myself at risk for 3 months, and I never contracted it. I think that being a carnivore makes me immune. So I don't know.
See, I told you, Sarah. I knew Sarah.
Sarah,
drove
what
a
do you
pickup.
drive?
I know.
thought you're not driving the
I told
Liberty
you.
anymore.
I knew it.
You got that? You got a Ranger, don't you? I bet you got a Ford
No,
Ranger.
she doesn't have a Ranger.
You don't think she drives a Ranger?
No.
You think she drives a Chevy?
I don't know. It's not a Ranger.
Sean, listen. The thing with the Jeep is
The Jeep's dead.
It does great. It's not dead.
F-150
I'm
95.
considering.
That's my type of truck there.
I'm
There you go.
considering replacing the frame on the Jeep,
It's a nice truck.
but at the very least, I'm halfway through replacing the entire brake system on the Jeep, just by choice. I didn't actually need to. So
Ooh, F-250.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I can't
man.
afford a 13 F250 yet. Maybe
Those are
someday.
sick.
Yeah, those are beasts. I've been thinking about getting a
I
Ford.
love my Jeep Liberty. Oh boy.
No, he's talking about my 78 CJ7 that he drove me up to pick it up. And
How do you know Sean?
Sean actually married one of my best friends from college.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. He's a really good
How
dude.
old is he?
So he's my age.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Sweet. Yeah. Yeah, I drive a Jeep. I got a 2016 Jeep Wrangler, so I guess I gotta love the Jeeps too. But
Yeah, he's just talking about he helped me pick it up, and it was a little rough. It was always a little rough, but it's nice for a 78, and it could use a new frame. And like I said, I'm halfway through replacing the brakes.
you gotta fix that fucking thing up and get her done.
Yeah, I'm going to. I think I'm gonna get a pickup in the meantime.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Diesel or the V10? The 250 is definitely a diesel, right?
250 has to be a diesel.
Yeah, I don't think that's the V10, is it? Pretty sure it's a diesel.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, this is a good one. I was shocked at the amount of viewers, dude. One time, we peaked at 17 viewers, dude.
You're right, Sean. I did a lot of work on that Jeep, and I'm still
It's a
working on it.
gas 250, really?
Really?
Holy shit! Okay.
Hmm.
I wouldn't think that.
Is it a V10? Must be a V10, I guess. Sarah seems like she knows what she's talking about. Oh,
A
6.2 liter V8.
Okay. Nice.
Hmm.
That's a lot of fucking weight for a V8.
What's the
though.
payload on that beast?
What? That's a lot of weight for a V8, dude. F250?
That's a lot of steel. They put a lot of extra steel in there.
I don't know. Is does she get up and go, Sean, or is she a dog? What do you think?
It sounds like a beast. I'd go for it.
The 6.2 V8. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how heavy 250s are. I don't know if it's a dog or if it gets. I bet you it can fucking definitely pull.
I bet it rips down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably got a lot of torque too.
Yeah.
Being a F250.
I love the diesels.
They're gonna make it. They're gonna make it
7,200 pounds. Fuck, dude. Imagine paying that at the DMV.
Shit, fuck, goddamn.
Shit. That's a fucking heavy ass truck, dude.
That's a beast.
I think my Jeep's like 3,000 pounds.
It's a
Maybe
lot.
2,800
That's a lot of
I
steel.
don't know.
That's a lot of steel.
Yeah, I don't see a V8 being able to push that down the road too well, dude. I don't know. I don't know my vehicles that well, but maybe. Who knows? So
I'm sure it's got some kind of twin turbo or something.
Yeah. Get her picked
They
up.
put a lot of power in those newer trucks.
But what about the Eddie Bauer 95 F-150? That's a good truck. I was
That is a
impressed.
good truck.
Yeah.
That's on my list of pickups to look at. I'm gonna look at one of those. I'm gonna look at a 1987 GMC K10 pickup.
Yeah.
I got a couple I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I like Sarah's in a place where you can kind of find trucks that are in decent shape.
It's the
so,
fucking Midwest. There's
Yeah.
trucks everywhere.
Yeah.
If you don't drive an old truck and chew on wheat, do you live in the Midwest?
She only has to pay $50 for a truck registration.
If I lived in the Midwest, I'd have an old truck. I'd chew on wheat all the time and chew tobacco.
I love
That's
chewing
all
wheat.
I'd do.
That's kind of, I don't know. Like, that's kind of,
I'd have a Copenhagen ring always. Just be there. I don't even chew, but I'd do it.
hey, for everybody that's listening right now, all two of you.
You mean
listen.
Sean and Sarah?
Yeah, Sean and Sarah. He's talking about having a Copenhagen ring, but you know what? He's got a ring is just his hair pomade. That's the only thing making a ring in his pocket is
It is hair
pomade in
pomade.
his hair.
I got it
So,
on me. You want to see it?
No. Why do you carry that shit around?
I got hair pomade right here, dude.
Look at this. He carries.
Yeah, you gotta always keep the hair looking nice. That's what we do.
It's like the international symbol for being a little bitch.
Gotta love it.
That's ridiculous.
Come on, dude. Leave it alone.
I'm sorry.
outta here.
Stop.
You should use some.
I lose traction long before I lose power. There you go. All right. Burn some rubber.
There you go. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've never been in one before, so I can't say. So I know my Jeep Wrangler's a fucking dog. The thing's slow shit, dude.
My CJ7's a much bigger dog than that is.
Dude, at least mine's standard, right? So you can kind of like.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
so is the CJ.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like it's standard, so you can kind of
Yeah.
give it ass.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's like still.
You
a
just have
fucking
to.
thing.
You just
It's
have
a
to
dog.
kind of shift slow.
Yeah, it's a fucking.
Keep
dog.
it in first for a
So,
while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get that GMC. I think my dad wants me to get something newer, but
Why? Because he doesn't want to keep giving you scars. Because Marianne and I contact your dad and tell him we're sick of lugging your ass around everywhere. Is that what it was?
Yeah. I rode my bike to work today in the rain. It was awesome.
That's not awesome, dude.
It kind of
No.
sucked, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be a lot better once I get a new pickup truck, a new old pickup truck.
New old pickup truck.
That's right. That's what I like. I like a new old pickup truck. So
Iowa's definitely an hour behind us, right?
yes.
Yeah.
It's only 10:07.
There you go. It's gonna be good there.
The Democrat didn't make it. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Sarah. The Democrats are not going to make your student loans go away.
They lied.
They lied. I'm shocked.
They lied. Listen, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should start labeling our podcast as right wing and libertarian because I don't know. I don't feel like we touch anything on the left side, really.
I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I really, it's hard.
Sean just smoked. Are you going to take that, dude?
You know what,
You going to take that, dude?
Sean? I've put over 250 miles on my bike. First off, it's an e-bike, so
Ooh.
I don't have to hardly pedal. I just have to make sure I remember to plug it in at the end.
Sean
of the night.
throwing the fire out here. He's like, bam, take it. Bill.
And I actually thought of that. I said, I'm gonna ride my bike to work. I've ridden it to work every day except for 2 days in the past month.
Really? Fuck that.
It's only been 2 days in the past month that I didn't ride my bike to work.
It's crazy. Well,
Yeah.
guys, you're gonna miss me on Sunday. I'm not gonna be here. Phil's on his own. So, well, he's bringing in someone, but I won't be here. So,
If you have the chance to watch on Sunday, please make sure you watch. I'm 95% sure that I've got probably the best guest that we're gonna have for quite a while.
either that or you're gonna be by your fucking self.
Yeah, I mean, you could just listen to me talking all by myself,
That'll
or
be funny as shit.
more likely,
Just want to see you carry this shit on your own.
I'm hoping that we're gonna have Jeff Bray, who's a former athletic trainer for the Philadelphia Eagles,
Oh, that's sweet. That's
Who's
my
a-
favorite team.
current athletic trainer for the Pro Bull Riding Association.
That's
or
crazy,
whatever they
dude.
are. Yeah. Who is the head athlete? He used to work in IndyCar, NASCAR, or something like that.
Is that the guy that came and got the bourbon for you here?
He's the guy that came and got the bourbon.
Oh shit,
for me.
dude! I wish I knew he worked for
He's
the
a
Eagles.
fucking
I would talk
badass.
his ear off. I've been everywhere in Lincoln
Yeah.
Financial Stadium. He's been everywhere more than I have, but I've been everywhere too. So,
He's got all the fun stories, and I told him that he has to tell the story about the time that he hid what do you call somebody that's also a student, a co-student, when he was doing his internship in Philadelphia. He hid his buddy's car on their way to work. So I told him he's got to tell that story.
that'll
on
be
the
an interesting
podcast.
story.
He's got a lot of good. He's just like full of these fucking stories.
Oh boy.
And so,
Well, I'll be
tune
driving
in on Monday.
I'll be
Sunday.
driving in my car on the way to Maine, and I will. I'll definitely pipe up. It'll be fun. Maybe we can bring me in the car. It might be interesting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, if you can tune in, we'll tune you in.
Yeah, it'll be hilarious.
I'm ready.
Hopefully, I'm eating a lobster roll while I tune in. That'll make it better. So,
fucking lobster roll.
dude, I'm gonna eat. My goal is in 3 days to eat 8 pounds of lobster.
When we went to New Hampshire, we stopped
So-
at a place and we were gonna get. I wanted to get a lobster roll. It's like $30 for some lobster and mayonnaise on a roll.
Yeah, that's
And
fucking
it's like-
expensive. It's like $18-20
Not-
a roll. Most
Not
places.
down with that. Not down with that.
Yeah,
I couldn't go for it.
fuck it.
I love lobster, but I wasn't down with that. So
Yeah, so I was talking to Marla, and Marla's telling me the best way to eat a lobster roll is don't fucking put mayonnaise on it. She said.
I don't know what the deal. Why do they put fucking mayonnaise?
She says you drench it in butter on a brioche roll and you eat it that way,
Ooh.
and that's the only way to eat it. You don't put mayonnaise on a lobster roll. So Marla told me Connecticut invented the lobster roll. It's not a main thing. It's from Connecticut.
That sounds like the shit.
And she said it's just butter and lobster and like mostly cloth, so it's sweet. Yeah.
Marla, from now on, I want you to be in charge of my lobster rolls.
Oh, that's right, Jay. I seen those pictures, dude. I love blue crab, dude.
You're in Maryland right now?
Yeah. He said I
How
seen his pictures
dare
on
you.
Facebook, dude. The blue crab there's sweet, but the only weird thing is it's hard to take one apart. You ever eaten blue crab?
You got to be careful once you get crabs, Jay. You got
Have you ever eaten blue crab?
not blue crab, no.
So they're like the way you eat. It's not like fucking regular. Right? You gotta like open it up and you gotta eat like around. It's so strange. It's a strange way to eat crabs. You gotta check it out. But
Huh. Jay, just get the medicated whatever shampoo, lotion, whatever it is.
it's that he doesn't have the real crabs. He's eating
Okay.
crabs.
All
You
right.
missed it, Phil. All right. Yeah.
All right.
So-
Sarah's texting me right now to figure out how she can get tickets here. I want to thank everybody for
Sean,
tuning in
I'm gonna
tonight.
try to eat 2 more pounds just for you, buddy.
Sean, not only that, but we're gonna make sure you get some of that bourbon. We're gonna make sure that Sean gets some of that bourbon.
Yeah, hell yeah. We're gonna hook Sean up.
Let us know when you're coming down.
Sarah, listen, I'm gonna get you tickets, but I'm telling you, you're not flying. You're gonna have to fly like some weird ass airline. It'll be like some weird drunk old guy with one eye.
JetBlue. You're gonna have to transfer between JetBlue and Southwest.
No, it's gonna be worse than that. It's gonna, like I said, his name's gonna be like Old Willie. She's like, it's gonna be like rickety, like.
Why does this plane only turn left?
We'll get you
Jesus
here, Sarah.
Christ.
All right.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for coming in. We're gonna get out of here for the night. We will. I'll see you on Sunday, and hopefully, I'll be seeing you with Jesse next Thursday for the next presidential debate.
I might be late, so.
And if Jesse's late, we'll start together, and then we'll add Jesse in. So, everybody have a great night.
Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.